This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Say my name.
And here we go.
Welcome back.
Yes,
Oh my goodness.
we are back with a new season.
Oh my God. I'm very excited. I'm so happy to be
Yes.
back.
Yes,
It's like, I've been like excited and like nervous, but I feel so good to be like recording again.
yeah,
Like I told you earlier, I recorded with a friend of mine for their podcast. I'll give them a little shout out. Their broadcast from the Belfry. They're coming back for their new season.
yeah,
I worked with them on Monday, or no, last Monday. And it was so cool to record again. It's been so long. And so I was so excited for us to get, because I'm like, this is my show. Like, we are doing this show. It's not just my show, it's our show.
yeah.
But like, I'm so excited to be back. We have kind of talked a little bit about doing some like kind of different definitely
No, that will never change.
that won't change. Well, no matter what kind of formatting we do for the show, I will still flub my words and probably hit my mic at some point today.
At some point. You already did before the show started.
I did already. I did like 3 times, but I didn't say anything about it, and I am mad that you saw it all happen. So we have worked a little bit more on like a slightly different formatting for our show. It's definitely going to be a lot more organized. We're not going to be as all over the place. We have a little bit more of like a planned out way that we're going to be doing the show. I think it's going to help us and our brains. I think it's going to help you guys better to like understand what we're talking about, because we're not going to be so like airheaded about everything. It's all going to be pretty laid out. But we have not changed the fact that we are going to be talking about some news stuff. So we're going to do a few news things before we really get into the film that we watched this week. And then I don't have any quiz stuff for us today.
Yeah, I forgot about the quizzes. Yeah,
because I just remembered that was a thing that we do.
It's been a while.
It's been a few months.
You know what? It's like starting up a car up in the winter. You gotta let it run for a second.
Yeah, you gotta let it do its thing for a little bit.
We're just warming up.
Speaking of winter, I told you this earlier, but like it's literally like 50 degrees outside in LA right now, and it was like 40 something last night. Like I took my dog out, I was like convulsively shivering.
Y'all probably losing y'all minds out there.
There's like, and like we probably have listeners that are from like the north that are like, 40 degrees, I'd be out in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, listen,
there's a lot of people that would be. I wouldn't.
I would not. I lived in Florida for 15 years, and I've been in California for 3 now. So that's 18 years of just warmth.
Yeah.
So when it's a little chilly, it's a little chilly. Like I'm not the like 8-year-old in like a bathing suit with the air conditioning unit going with feet of snow on the ground that I was when I lived in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I am a different human now. So
oh my God.
Chilly. But we took a winter break. We are back. I am super excited to start this like springtime off on a high note. I feel like this is going to be, everybody's like, this is our year. I don't want to say that because I don't want to jinx anything, but like it feels, I say something feels a little bit different about this year, but it also could be because there's like an impending war about to happen. So we are going to chat a little bit about some news things that does include what's going on literally right now. It is Thursday, February 24th right now. Russia literally just invaded Ukraine this morning. Late tonight for us. So we did want to kind of just chat about that super quick because it is kind of escalating a little bit. Don't know what's gonna happen.
Hopefully this episode will actually air.
Yeah, right. Like hopefully, like the world doesn't go into like an actual World War III. I've seen some things that they're like advising and saying that it's not actually gonna like start a World War III, but they have moved a lot of troops towards like the border between the Ukraine and Russia, and like there's like a lot of stuff going on. So it's kind of scary.
Yeah. And we just sent Sean Penn over there.
Yeah. Oh,
so
So Sean Penn, if you don't know who he is, he's an actor, director. I have his little about Sean Penn. Sean Justin Penn is an American actor, director, screenwriter, and producer. He's won 2 Academy Awards for his roles in the mystery drama Mystic River and a biopic Milk. He's 61 years old. He is making a documentary on the conflict currently right now in the Ukraine, between the Ukraine and Russia. Yeah. And he arrived there today. Yeah, I don't really know what his full intentions are. If he's like, this is a good thing to make a documentary on. Like, he literally just like arrived in Russia like a couple of hours ago. Not in Russia, I'm sorry, in the Ukraine a couple of hours ago.
I don't understand the reasoning. Like, okay, if you're making a documentary, I get it, but you know, I was reading or something a little while ago saying that he was talking to the president of Ukraine and all this stuff. Like, look, I'll say like this, I don't want him to go all Mystic River over there. Whatever, like he messed up a lot of stuff in Mystic River, right? Stay out of it. Stay out of it. I don't like. I'm
usually all for, like, if somebody wants to, you know, if you have the means to, like, if you have a platform to talk about a situation, like we have this platform, so we can kind of talk about this. Like, I'm sure there's probably people who are going to listen to the show that like have no idea what's going on, you know, so we have like a platform where we can talk about something. He's a big time actor, so he has a platform as well to like talk about like injustices and things like that. And I'm all for that. Like, I hate when people are like, you're an actor, just fucking act, or like, oh, you're just a football player, stop like trying to make a political statement. Like, fuck off. Like, they have a platform that they can use that so many people will appreciate, and like otherwise like wouldn't know what's going on, because, you know, so I'm all for that. Like, but I don't understand why he's going to film a documentary. But I mean, I guess he's been working on this since last year, so it's not a new thing. Yeah, so he's been working on it and filming about the escalating tensions in the Ukraine since November of last year. This is from the Daily Mail, so I don't know how like accurate this is, because they are sometimes they're very biased. But like, I feel like something like this they wouldn't like fuck around with. But so he was at the press briefing wearing sunglasses and a beige bomber jacket.
Jacket.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's being lauded by the Ukrainian government, which said he has the courage Western leaders lack. Okay. And that's us, by the way. We are the West to these people. So Western is like us, the US, Canada, honestly, even more of Europe, like the UK. So I mean, Putin launched airstrikes at 5 a.m. on Thursday local time. So for us here, it was like 9 or 10 p.m. I think. Well, for me anyway, 9 or 10 p.m.
It was early in the day for me,
but very early for you. I want to say it was probably like 1 or 2 in the morning for you. Really, 5 a.m. Oh, Eastern time, 5 a.m.
Yeah, our
local time 5 a.m. local time. So 5 a.m. for you, so like 2 a.m. for me. And so there's tons of people. There's trains. I was reading a thing that there's like a ton of trains running west to get out of like the Ukraine. A lot of people are trying to get out, and it's just really scary. But Sean Penn brings the entertainment side of things because he is an actor. He's working on a documentary. So we did want to talk about what's going on over there briefly, because it's still developing. I mean, it started this morning, so it's still very much like happening as we're talking here now. So we're just gonna kind of keep up with that. I mean, Sean Penn's gonna make sure that we all know what's going on.
I mean, and see, I didn't know anything about what was going on over there in anyway, so
Yeah, there's been like a lot going on for a while. I mean, there's been tensions between the Ukraine and Russia for decades.
Yeah.
There was things going on with like the Cold War, like 30, 40 years ago. There was one newscaster, not newscaster, she's or they're a TikToker, I'm not sure of their pronouns. But they do like under the desk news, and they're usually just like sitting under their desk and just talk about news, and that's like their shtick.
Sit under the desk.
Yeah, they're under the desk. It's literally the account, I think is called It's Under the Desk News.
Okay.
I don't know. This is their
That's unique.
So that's
Okay.
their thing. But Under the Desk News, they're verified. But wherever they are right now, I don't know where they're at. A host of the LA Times TikTok as well, so probably here in LA. So they talked a little bit about it, and they did mention that even though everything that's kind of like scary going on, a lot of the bunkers that were used during the Cold War were repurposed into bars, salons, and strip clubs. And all of these places are still usable as like bomb shelters. They are still bunkers that are completely usable. So with what's going on, there might just be like a bunch of people just chilling down in bars and strip clubs while
hunker down and drink up. Like
honestly, right? like they'll be well equipped for something.
No, they'll be entertained. They will.
Oh yeah, they will be entertained.
Sure.
They will have
hair will be looking great as well. You know?
Oh god, yeah. So it's scary. We don't mean to joke about it. We know that like a lot of stuff's like going on, and it's very scary, especially for everybody that's over in the Ukraine. Because I know that there's not just like it's they're all like innocent people. Like there's nothing going on that there's like bad people like fighting, you know? Like there's nothing. It's literally just like Russia being like ridiculous and being like, we need to have everything, you know, because the Ukraine is in the top 5 really for like a ton of resources. Like they have a ton of stockpiled resources, like uranium, like nuclear development stuff. Like they have a lot of those kind of things. Also, they're huge in agriculture. So like they're 20. I wish I had this article. I just tried to look for it, but I thought I had it pulled up, but I don't, which I'm annoyed about because I definitely had it pulled up earlier and I thought I saved it, but I didn't. But it's like they're 25% in like certain like agriculture, like of the world's like agriculture, like certain things, like they're 25%, and some of it's like 12%. You know, so they're very like the article was like, what's so important about the Ukraine? And it's like, because they're very important to like the world's how the world runs and resources. And I think that's probably why Russia's trying to like go in, is because like there's a lot of resources that they can take a hold of and be like, well, now we have these, like we have this huge amount of stuff, so now we can have more control over the world. And it blows my mind that in 2022 we're still dealing with people that are trying to like take over the world. And I'm like, it is 2022. Like we are done with this shit. Like this is not like, I don't understand why some people are in the mentality of like needing to like run the whole world.
Well, you know, it's that whole saying of like, you know, what do men with power want? More power, you know, and it's unfortunate. I really do. I don't personally know a lot of stuff that's been going on over there, especially lately. So I don't think I'm equipped to discuss the political aspect of it.
No, but I agree. I don't know everything that's going on. I'm just what I've been reading like the past few days, and just seeing, because there's a bunch of people on TikTok that are that live in the Ukraine, that are posting videos like in real time, basically of what's going on. So that's what I've been seeing.
Okay.
So it's not like just like news articles and stuff that I've been reading. It's like real people, real people that are there amidst all of this, and it's scary.
Well,
and
I'm
I just
definitely
don't
keeping them in our prayers, because that's 100%. A lot of stuff to go through, and especially with someone like Putin, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. So
so we'll see. I mean, Sean Penn's working on this documentary. He has been for a few months now, so I don't know when he plans on releasing it. I mean, there's so much going on right now that there's just a lot happening at the moment. So
and to think like you're just going over there. I mean, I get that he's been working on it, but like to go over there like as soon as things start, that's dangerous.
It's scary.
That's really dangerous.
A little ballsy on his part. Like he's because you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, these kind of militaries and like militias and stuff, when they like are coming in and doing these things, like they don't like take mercy at all. So well, I mean, I'm gonna keep up with this as much as I can, just trying to keep updated on how things are going. But we just wanted to, talk a little bit about that and send lots of love to everybody over there that's dealing with this. And we hope that you guys are going to be okay and that you're going to be nice and safe, or as safe as you can be while all this is going on. If you're able to get out of the country, get out of the country. Please. Which sucks. It sucks that you would have to do that. But I hope that things can be resolved with not too much bloodshed. Just scary. But so we just wanted to bring that up so we're not just like nonchalantly talking about like stuff and like laughing and things, because we definitely are very aware of what's going on in the world right now, and we just wanted to shed some light on it. If you don't know what's going on, look it up, educate yourself, and I'm sure there's going to be some kind of something that we'll be able to like help out with in the future. Because I mean, we can't really do anything like as like American civilians. We're kind of just like stuck here. The only thing that we can do is use our platform to kind of talk about it and inform people a little bit anyway. So
definitely.
A couple more. I guess we'll just stay on the sad route for a little bit here for a second. We've been gone for a few months. And some very influential people in the entertainment world have passed. One of which, absolute legend, Miss Betty White, which was so sad. And it's like very. Did you see the picture of her?
The last one?
The last picture that like her assistant had or something. It was really sad because it reminded me of my own grandmother, like before she, like right before she, like she had a really like tough decline. And like that picture just reminded me of like that. I mean, I was really young when she passed away. I was like 7 or 8. But I remember like my mom had to like kind of help take care of her. And that picture just reminded me like right before it hit that point. And it was just like, you could see that.
You could see she was. Yeah, it's crazy to think, because like when you grow up seeing someone on TV and in movies, like we know no one lives forever, right? But when you see someone like that that's so full of life and
like literally so influential, like on like how like just entertainment came to be the way it is, like she just did so much.
She did.
Had such a huge long career, like it still like blows my mind. Like she's been in so many things and just a huge part of Hollywood for literally decades. Like she was only 2 weeks and a couple days away from her 100th birthday. Like 100 years old. Like she was a couple weeks from 100. You're 100 years old.
Especially when you're taking the 9 months that
the gestation and so like
technically
like
speaking,
she had a brain by that point. So like 100 so like 100 years and like bringing up like war stuff. Like she was born in 1922, so she was in her 20s when World War II was going on. Like so she went through all of that as well. Like what the heck? So she saw all of that happening. Like talk about like a history, like she was walking history. She was amazing, absolute legend. Will never ever be. She is like a treasure. She's one of those like one of those people that Hollywood's gonna. She's like not like Marilyn Monroe, but like it's gonna be like that name. You're like,
Yeah.
you know. She's got a wax figure. I met her wax figure at the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. So
Those wax figures, like those always piss me off.
sometimes they're really great. Like there's
Every
some of them
once
are
in a
really
while,
good.
they hit very well.
So I went to the Wax Museum pretty recently. Because my friends came in town in November, December. I can't remember exactly when they came to November. It was November. They came to visit. And we went to the Wax Museum and we got to like go through, and there's a bunch of them that were like really good, but there's a few that were really bad. But like a lot of them were like, wait, the Steven Spielberg one, amazing. It's so good.
I went to the one in New York. Like
I've been to that one too. That one's really
like
cool.
15, I think.
Okay.
It was cool. It was cool, but there were a couple of them I was just like, y'all, come on, man. Like y'all didn't even try. Like this is horrible. You can see some people like you can see the ones where people had energy and they're like, yes, this is it. And then it's
that
like y'all need some coffee or something. Like
right. They like started to like kind of go, it's like doesn't even look like the person. Yeah. But so yes, rest in peace to Miss Betty White, an absolute legend. She will forever live in our hearts in the world of media. I think she broke a lot of barriers, which is good. So love her, miss her, even though I didn't know her personally, but like she was somebody I would have loved to have worked with.
For sure.
So another childhood person that passed is all I can think of is Danny Tanner.
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. Oh my God. I was just childhood and I immediately went to like Full House.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bob Saget passed away. There's still, I keep seeing articles that like some of it like might be kind of sketchy, but like he like fell at like his hotel or something.
Yeah, they say he hit his head and thought he was okay and ended up just going to sleep, and that was
like he which is understandable. I mean, if you hit your head hard enough, you can absolutely get like a concussion and like oh gosh, sorry, I had a hiccup, like caused a burp. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely get a concussion. If you get a concussion and go to sleep, you can absolutely just pass away. So I have an article here. It's actually posted today, this morning. It says police reportedly believe that Bob Saget hit head on marble bathroom floor before he died. Which is like crazy. So maybe he slipped and hit his head and didn't really think anything of it. But like, I don't know. Like, I don't think there was any foul play, but then I saw something like that, like his this bone, like your like not your nose, but like orbital, but like not quite your orbital, because that's like more of like your eye, but like kind of forehead. I don't know, like when something in his like front of his face was like broken, which I'm like, how does that happen?
So he hit the back of his head?
Yeah, they said that it was like the back of his head. It was at the Ritz-Carlton Orlando. I've actually been to that hotel before. They have conventions there all the time in Orlando. So yeah, I've actually been to that hotel. That's crazy. But yeah, so it's just stated that he likely like slipped, fell, hit his head, didn't realize that his head was as hurt as it was, and just went to go lay down and didn't wake up, which concussions can do, which is scary. And I guess he had COVID previously, like a few weeks before, but he wasn't like, he was still testing positive, but wasn't actually like experiencing any problems because he had just had a show. So he was, death-filled accidental. Yeah, really, really sad because like he was like everybody's dad growing up, you know, like he was the TV dad. So very sad. When I found that out, I was very sad.
That one hurt. Like
Yeah.
Betty White,
I feel like we had time to prepare for it. Like we knew it was coming. We knew that it wasn't like a sudden thing.
Yeah.
From what I was reading, it's like there was she had a stroke, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like a week or so later is when she passed away. So
yeah, you kind of prepared for that one. Bob Saget, that
was very sad. I mean, he had just done a show.
Yeah.
He had literally just done a show. He had a few more that he was getting ready to go to. Like he was going to leave the hotel that morning and head to like another venue. Like, so it was very, very sudden. And it's always sucks when it's like accidents, because it's just like, damn, you know, like it could literally just happen. And it's so if you hit your head, don't think that you're okay. Get it checked out, because concussions are terrifying. And if you go to sleep, you might not wake up, which is scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, I've had concussions before, and I've had to like make sure I've like stayed awake for like hours. Because they were awful, but it sucks because like you have a hard time staying awake, so you have to have somebody being like, all right, like let's do something to keep your brain going so that you can like, so like things are okay. Yeah, it's scary. But I mean, if you're alone at your hotel and like maybe get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and you slip and then hit your head and then you get back into bed, like so which is I'm assuming is probably what happened. It says that his estimated time of death was like 4 a.m. or something.
Oh wow.
Hold on, I just saw it. Estimated to be about 4 a.m., some 12 hours before his body was found. So yeah, he probably got up in the middle of the night to go pee and like slipped and hit his head on the floor, and then like was like, oh no, and then just like crawled back into bed and then didn't wake up. So yeah, if you guys fall and hit your head, go to the doctor. Yeah, I know American healthcare sucks, so going to the doctor is scary, but if you don't go to the doctor, at least like don't go to sleep. Stay awake
as long as possible.
Yeah, literally as long as possible until like, you know, you're feeling better. I don't know how to deal with concussions, but if you fall and hit your head, like don't go to bed, don't go to sleep. But yeah, so like rest in peace to these guys here. Very sad. It's
definitely.
So past people that have passed, we can talk about some new life that has been brought into this world. You all hopefully know that I would not pass up talking about Nick Jonas. Him, Nick Jonas, and his wife Priyanka Chopra just recently had a baby. They had a baby via surrogate, and I am so happy for them, and mainly because now all three of the Jonas brothers have daughters. So like 10 years from now, we could have the Jonas sisters.
Oh, you're playing this.
So I'm ready for it. I'm all in on the future for like my children to like have like some badass girl group. I'm so down. Wow. I'm so excited. My future children have the Jonas sisters to listen to, and they're going to be freaking awesome. I'm kidding. I'm not like projecting anything on these like tiny babies. Like this is a brand new baby. But
that's hilarious.
But I'm so happy for them. I'm very excited for them. I always knew Nick would be a great dad. But no, I watched Kevin Jonas had a show where it was like a documentary of him and his wife, Danielle, and their kids and everything. And so like it always looked like they just look like good, genuine dudes. I recently worked with Joe Jonas. And he was so kind. He was so nice. His team was awesome. So like they're just good guys. I've never heard anything bad about any of them. So it's I'm excited for them. It's nice to see that they're all like kind of like growing up and like having families. It's really cute. So congratulations to them. That's so definitely cute. They just posted like a cute little picture of like let's see. Priyanka is the most important piece of the puzzle. It's obviously something we hope happens, and God willing, it comes together. 29-year-old Jonas Brothers bandmate shared that February. Whatever is right. We're blessed to have each other and to have a full heart for the future. I say, and things are out of your control. And the foundation of a couple is strong, and you're excited about the possibility of that. He's not putting a number on how many children they want. Although she has previously joked on the Sunday Times that she'd like as many as a cricket team. Which is that 6?
I don't know. I've
team?
never even watched cricket, but if you're talking about having enough kids to create a team, I think that's hilarious.
11. There's 11 people on a cricket team.
Wow. Yeah, that's biblical.
That's all biblical. That's biblical. It is. But I mean, they've always been like him and his family have always been very religious.
Yeah.
And she comes from a very like traditional like Indian family. Yeah. So like you never know. Oh my God, something is making noise. Hold on, let me mute my actual computer while this truck passes by. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
I just keep clicking on like news articles and they're not articles, it's a video, and I'm like, some ad pops up. I'm like, what is this? I just want to read the article. But yeah, so they just had a little baby, so I'm very happy for them, very excited for them, because like who wouldn't be with a new baby? I mean, I guess I know that there's people that don't like babies, but like whatever. Go and not like your children, it's fine. Did you have any specific like articles?
No, I don't think so. I think
okay, I have like 2 more like quick ones.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me close out some of these tabs. I made a joke right when we first started. And that's why we were laughing as soon as we like hit record. I have like a million tabs open, and I said it was like my brain. Yeah. So I'm trying to clear things out a little bit because there's a lot going on. We have to talk about I'm sorry. We have to talk about Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian. I just like, I love Pete so much. And I don't hate the Kardashians. I think we've talked about this before. Like, I don't hate them. Like, they're very business savvy. Like, they would not be where they are if they weren't good at what they do. For sure. You know?
For sure.
So, you know, I think I think it's a very weird couple. But I love Pete, and like I've only ever heard like good things about him. Like when people meet him, like he's kind, he's awkward, he's weird, but like in a good way. Mm-hmm. He's friendly. He's a mama's boy, so he is respectful of women, which I think is something that Kim really needs right now. Because she's been dealing with some rough things lately. Yeah. And I think it's kind of important too that like the way that like Kanye has been like treating the whole situation is very much abuse. And
you know what I think though? I think interestingly enough, Kanye, I think he's flipping this to be more of a marketing tool.
I do think that he is using it. He's using what's going on to gain publicity. I think in very much the way that like no publicity is bad publicity. I think that's what's going on in his head.
Yeah.
I don't want to like speak for him or whatever, and I don't want to like assume things, but it does seem like that. Like it's very much like I want my name in the news as much as possible.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad. Like one of my coworkers literally flew from here in LA, flew to Miami to go see him the other day, because I think he did his like Donda release party or something.
Yeah, so he did. Yeah.
Which he didn't he like stop halfway through or some shit because like the audio was off? Like, bro, can you imagine flying from Los Angeles, California to Miami to have him like stop the show because like he couldn't sing on cue? Like, I don't like
he did something similar to that, I think, at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium too. But I will say though, when you're like as a producer, if you make something to sound something like one way, and it's being, you know, something happens with the equipment, mm-hmm. where, you know, it doesn't sound like
it's not quite right,
it's
or whatever.
not what, yeah, and I think think he's more of a perfectionist like that in that way.
I do
too.
think he
Like,
has. I do think he has like perfectionist yeah.
It's gotta be a certain way. So like he stopped a show before. Like that's not new. Where it's like, hey, listen, start that back over. Like we gotta do it like this. And I think I was just having this conversation yesterday actually. Have you seen his docuseries on Netflix?
I haven't watched it. I honestly don't really have a ton of interest in it.
Okay.
I don't particularly like Kanye anyway. And honestly, his behavior over the past like couple years really has continued to like not give me any interest in it. I know that there's people that like grew up listening to him and absolutely love him. Like I have friends that like I said, my coworker, not really a friend, but like she's a coworker, flew from Los Angeles to Miami to go see him. And I was like, oh wow, okay. I was like, that's a lot, but all right. And like I do have friends that are like very like when he's in town or whatever, like they're like, we're gonna go see him, and I'm like, okay. But I mean, like I'd be the same way. Like if I had the money, if like Harry Styles came to town, I'd be like, yo, I'm going. You know, like So I can't like judge based on that. But like I haven't watched it. I might watch it. I don't know.
It's really good.
I
got it. I'm gonna after we finish recording, I'm gonna watch the second episode of it.
Okay, yeah, because it's releasing in three parts, right?
Which Netflix is getting into this thing for the last couple of months. They've been announcing where stuff will be like that. Like Ozark was like the first, what was it, season 4? So the first part of season 4 released beginning of January. And the second part is going to release sometime this year. That's still
later. They're doing the same thing with Stranger Things. Stranger Things season 4, they're splitting into 2 parts. So like one part's coming out, and I think like March, and the next part's coming out in like later in the year, and then the 5th season will be the last season.
Love is Blind doing the same thing. First,
that's right, yeah.
You know, so I think,
but I think streaming in general right now is doing a lot of that, because a lot of streaming sites are like releasing like an episode a week. Like I have Discovery Plus, so I watch a few episodes or a few shows on that, and like sorry, the hiccups. One of the shows that I watch, Ghost Hunt. Oh, sorry, that hiccup hurt. One of the shows that I watch is Ghost Hunters. It's the TAPS team. I've been watching them for literally like almost 15 years, probably. Like I've been watching them since like their first season. Their first season came out like 2004 or some shit. Wow. So like a very long time. And so they stopped their show for a while. They're doing like a TAPS returns, like, so their newest season is on Discovery Plus. An episode comes out every Saturday, so it's like a TV show. But like once it's out, you don't have to like worry about like missing it or whatever. So I feel like a lot of streaming services are doing that. They're either dropping it episode by episode, or they're dropping it like batches. Yeah, exactly.
But
I mean, Fear Street did that. They released one of the Fear Street movies, like one like every week or whatever. So
I like it. It kind of takes you back to like how TV used to be before streaming.
I feel like it's nice because I don't have to like worry about like binging an entire show right away. But also like it's kind of annoying because sometimes like I want that binge, or it's like something if I'm excited about it. And I'm like, if I'm excited about it, because I mean Arcane, and we talked about this before we started recording the show. Arcane, the first few episodes, they dropped it in 3 parts. So they dropped 3 episodes a week later, the next 3 episodes a week later, the last 3 episodes. So it's 9 episodes in total. And they did the same thing. And I was like, no, I want all of these right now. You know, so, but like, it was cool because it's like, it did give you the option to like, okay, I can watch these 3 episodes, be caught up. And then in a week, not have to worry about like watching the rest of it, because like nobody else has seen the rest of it. So it was kind of nice in like some senses. But like I feel like with streaming, we've just gotten so used to everything being released at once. That like going back to like what TV was, where you had to like wait, and like there's commercials and like.
No, I like it, but like I'll say, if you're not a Kanye fan, you might not really care, like thinking about it ahead of time, you might not care to watch it. But when you're actually watching it, you're able to kind of like do a deep dive into his mind, and like how he operates. And it's really intriguing on like how that works, because I like
his the way his brain fascinates me. because he does have a very interesting mind from like things I've seen in like interviews and stuff. Like if I was like a psychologist, I'd be like, I want to study this man.
Yeah, for sure. But not even just because of that though. It's like he actually, like the way he works and stuff like that, it's really intriguing.
Mhm.
And I will say that this, just the first episode, has like allowed me to say, like, look at him like, okay, you know what, the last couple of years starting to make more sense. Not justifying it, but it's starting to make more sense.
But it makes more sense.
It makes more sense.
And so it's like it's not like I don't have like any interest in watching it, because I do like documentaries. I watched a documentary on the K-pop girl group Blackpink. I had literally never listened to them
before.
I think I had heard of them in passing or something, never listened to them, never really cared for it. I like watched their documentary because it just like popped up and I was just like, I'll watch a documentary or whatever. I fucking was crying by the end of it because of their success. Like I was so into it. So it's like, you know, so it's not that like I don't have any interest. It's just like, I'll have to be in the mood. Like maybe I'll watch it. I just don't know when I'll watch it. I feel like I will eventually, just because it is like a very big, and like, I mean, we have our show, we talk about this kind of stuff, you know? So I feel like I'll watch it so that like we can chat about it. But I just don't really have any interest in him as like a person at all.
Which I can understand. I can understand that.
Especially like dealing with like gaslighting and that kind of stuff myself. And seeing some of my friends that have gone through like abusive relationships, which are not just it's an abusive relationship, whether it's physical or not. So seeing some of that happen like so publicly with him and Kim is a lot to kind of like take in, just because like seeing it happen to friends of mine and seeing it so public between the two of them, it's kind of scary, because I have seen where it can escalate to. And it's scary too to see people be like, yeah, Kanye, and it's like, no, dude, like that's pretty fucked up. If you're doing shit like that, you're being an abusive person. And it's not just us being like sensitive, like that shit's not okay. And then he himself in one of his posts was like posted about like being gaslit himself, and like people are gaslighting him, and it's like, okay, so you understand that it's a thing, and you understand that like you're doing that. So but I wanted to just kind of bring that up, and then Pete is over here just like chilling, because Pete is care. Pete. He's such a chill person, and like he's not really on social media much anyway. Like he had an Instagram, I think he already deleted it after like a week, because he has one for a little bit, and then he's like, I don't want to deal with this shit, and then he like deletes it. So he's I love Pete. Again, I haven't heard anything really bad about him. Like even when people like fans meet him, it's usually pretty good. I find him funny. His humor is funny. His dad passed away in 9/11. He was a firefighter, and he like jokes about it because that's his like coping. Like
he made a movie about it.
He did. So you know, so it's such an interesting pair. But also, if you look at Courtney and Travis Barker, like they're also like a super strange couple, but like it works. You know? And they've also been friends for like years and years and years. So it makes sense. But also it's just funny. But I feel like I like that like dynamic of like a Kourtney Kardashian or Kim Kardashian with some like tatted up like
it's very
like
very
really
different.
grungy,
it's
like
very different.
Especially like, and it's funny because it's like Courtney was with like Scott Pryor, but like Kim, it was just really funny because he's just this like, he's tall but he's like scrawny, like skinny, tatted up white dude. It's like Kim is just like, listen.
It is what it is.
But I guess think, he treats women well, and I feel like that's really important for her and like her kids. Like
no, I think there's a lot of stuff, because I personally don't keep up with. You
don't keep up with the Kardashians?
I don't. I couldn't care
I like
any less. But I will say that when you have someone like Kim with everything that comes with her in terms of like media attention and all that other stuff, and then you have Kanye with everything that comes with him, like you join those two, like
it's a recipe for something.
A recipe, like this was bound to happen.
Yeah,
like,
it was
doesn't
not
matter what type of
necessarily
argument.
like, yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like this was bound to happen. This was going to happen. Whether
it was going to be like something, because it's like you never know, like there's people that have been like married for like ever, and like you would have never thought they would be together ever, and they're like the happiest people in the world. And then there's people that have been like married that you thought were going to be like the happiest couple and we're going to be together for 100 years, who like break up after like a year and a half. And so like you literally never know what's going to happen. But yeah, like the caliber of both of them and the fame that both of them have, like whether something like this was inevitable, which sounds kind of like, oh well, like it was bound to be like bad. I think the inevitableness of it is just the scale of something happening.
I'm
not necessarily like a bad thing or a breakup. It was just because of the fame that both of them carry with them, like something was bound to happen that was going to create a media storm at some point.
For sure. And so, I'm not even saying that this is justified or anything like that, but I think both of them have stuff that they don't like that the other is doing, which is that always happens,
which
right?
I mean, it's now at the point where Kim is just like over it, and she's like, listen, I'm like done, and he's like, no, I'm gonna send you a truck full of roses on Valentine's Day, even though we're not together anymore. And even though I gave my current girlfriend and all of her friends Birkin bags, like, bro, what? Like
it's a lot. It is a lot.
It's a lot going on. Like it's so weird. But I think it does highlight a lot of like domestic things that, like, because I mean people not famous do shit like that, and you don't see it because they're not famous or whatever, but like people are, that kind of stuff happens, like it's love bombing and things like that to try to like get a person back, but it's like just respect that person and understand that like it's like a lack of respect and stuff too. So it's just a lot, but I did want to chat about that. I'm just sorry, I'm looking at the time.
No, you good.
I wanted to chat about that just because I think them being a couple is like so interesting. And just like everything that has gone on. It's like, I mean, we talk about like film and entertainment, and like they have been on E! News like every damn day. So I good question for our audience, like if you guys are listening, do you enjoy us talking about like entertainment stuff and like actors and musicians and stuff too on top of like just film, or do you want just film? I would love some input on that, because I know we kind of go into tangents, especially me. I go into tangents about like entertainment stuff, like actors and like their personal lives. Like I love the entertainment side of things. Like I used to love like being on like all of those like entertainment sites, like finding out what was going on with like all these like celebrities and stuff. Just because it just fascinates me how like the other side lives. But then there's like some people that are like super chill, and you're like, and I like that. I think I like finding out that like somebody is just chilling, getting some like Postmates or something, you know? It's like, oh my God, you're so normal. And it just makes me feel better about like my future in the entertainment industry as an actor. That if like I order Postmates or something, like it's super normal. Like, and I think it helps ground me a little bit. It helps remind me that like, yeah, these are normal people. Like they're not like crazy, insane people that like, they're just normal people. And I think that's important to remember, because like all we do is talk about like movies and stuff, and like, the people in the movies are people too. So okay, so last thing I wanted to talk about, can we move on? Is that fine? Okay. So the last thing I just really want to talk about makes me super happy. If you've not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, have you seen it?
Actually, I went to
Did you go to the theater?
I actually went to the theater.
Oh my God.
Look, I went 3 weeks after the movie came out, right?
Was it still packed?
Oh my God. I was pissed. I was highly pissed. I'm sitting in there just like cringing.
Like, there's so many people.
It's not only so many people, there were people I like sitting on the very last row, right?
All the way
And
back, right?
yeah, I like right under the projector. That's my seat.
Yeah. It's like one of the perfect spots.
I bought that seat. Okay.
Okay.
That was my ticket.
Okay.
I walk into the theater.
Was somebody sitting in your seat? Did you kick them out?
No, I had to sit.
Oh my God. I would have been like, hi, that's my seat.
Well, see, here's the thing. I couldn't because there were people that were like right there to like get into the aisle. Like I was just like, man, you know what? I give up. I just sat on the end cap in the row in front. I gave up. But I had my mask on the entire time. I'm sitting there, hands in my
pockets. One of the few people
like,
who's still wearing their masks in Georgia. Right.
One of the few that actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was weird because there were people starting to come in. And at first, like I got there like right before the preview started.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, there's like 15 people in there. Whatever, they're spread around, right? As the previews are starting to play, just this bum rush of people that started coming in there. I was absolutely petrified. I sat where no one could sit next to me, like, because I figured if I sit in like the row,
like the end, you'll at least not have somebody on one side of you for sure.
Well, I figured there was not going to be an asshole that actually sat on the end cap, right? So I sat in that seat right next to us. I'm like, no one's gonna like purposefully sit there.
Yeah.
Then I had the rest of the row to my right. I was like, I don't like that, but hopefully it might be a racist that sits there. He's like, I don't want to sit next to this black guy. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like I'm like, maybe I could actually make somebody not want to sit next to me. so
oh my God. The only time in your life you've ever wanted a racist to come by you.
Yeah. So like I was like, maybe nobody's gonna sit there. No one did, thank God.
Oh my God.
But this family sat right in front of me with two young kids.
Oh, were the kids just like the whole fucking movie?
No, but there's one, the youngest making all the noises in the world. I'm like, I'm talking about like,
don't take your kids to the movie if you can't like make sure that they can sit through a movie quietly.
No kids below 5 should go into a movie.
So I don't entirely agree with that. I have babysat kids that can sit through a movie. You just have to know that they can sit through that movie. Like, don't bring a kid to a movie if their attention is not going to be there.
How about this? Go when it's not a lot of people.
Do the matinee.
This was a matinee. This was a matinee on a Sunday.
Oh, you poor thing.
My possible power to make sure it was gonna be as least, like it was gonna be as little
amount of people, yeah,
as possible, and literally, that did not work.
Oh my God,
it did not work. I went at like 2:30 on a Sunday.
You got to go earlier than that. You got to go to like the first showing in the morning.
I tried.
Oh, was it? There was no tickets. That should have been your first clue, bro.
Well, no, it was a smaller theater. That's why when I looked, I was like, I wanted to do that one, but I was like, it was a smaller theater. I was like, let me go to the bigger one because I know this is gonna be a bigger. I want to see this movie
in a big screen.
Yes.
When you're going to see the big screen, you want it to be a big screen.
I want it to be a big screen. So I said, if it's a bigger screen, that might mean there's less people around me because it's a bigger theater.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
All the logic in the world. It did not help.
When I saw it in theaters, we went to a smaller theater, but we got the 3D ones. We got to see the 3D, so it was cool. So it was like one of those in between. It wasn't like a giant IMAX theater, but it wasn't like one of those teeny theaters. But the way, I mean, it was pretty small. It was a really small theater. We had it had 2 seats on either side, and then the middle had like 10 seats or something. Okay. We were able to sit on the side, so it was me and my friend's little sister, and there was those big chairs that like reclined and everything. So it was pretty far away from like other people that were around us. So I like going to that theater if we're gonna go, just because they have the big seats. So even if you are next to somebody, you're still at least like 2 feet from them, and if you're wearing your mask, I think things are okay. Like LA. I think tomorrow the 25th. Yeah, I think tomorrow is when the mask mandates change for places that if they check vaccination status, if you're vaccinated, you can go without a mask. If you're not vaccinated, you have to keep a mask on. Obviously, you still have the choice to wear your mask if you would like to. And then I don't know how that's going to work for us in like retail, because I think I don't know how that's going to work for us in retail, because like technically like we like they do check our vaccination status as like employees, but the mall for a period of time was going to be checking vaccination statuses, and then there was literal fights that broke out, so they stopped doing that, just to protect the safety of like their security. Like
you have to,
so
I don't know that I don't know that I actually will like stop wearing a mask, because people.
I literally forgot to grab my mask when I took my dog out the other night to switch cars with my roommate. So we park tandem, so we have to switch cars because he works night, so he leaves at like 10:30 at night. It's 10:30 at night, going to switch the car. I forgot to grab my mask, and I was like, it's 10:30 at night, it's fine, I'm gonna go outside, walk my dog, and then get in my car and move the car really quick, and then go back up to the apartment. I'm not gonna run into anybody, it's fine. Just wrong. It's like the one time I forgot my mask in like months, you know, like I live in LA, like we have not had masks. I think we're the last place in the country that still has mask mandates, and which I'm fine with. I'm all for it. Like being immunocompromised, like I am grateful for it, because when I get sick, I get really sick. And so come in from the car, go into the lobby, waiting for the elevator, like 10 kids walk in. And I was like, oh no. And they were from different groups, but like I got into the elevator with my dog, and then like 5 of the kids walk in, and I'm like, you are like 15 years old, so like you might be vaccinated, but you might not, because you're still like a kid, and none of you have masks on, and also you like go to a school, so you're around a gazillion people. I hate this. And like being in such an enclosed space, I was like, I don't like this at all. But it was fine. I was fine. I ended up having to get tested for COVID like a few days later, because I booked a job working on a commercial as a PA. And I tested negative. It was fine. Everything was fine. But like I just didn't like that moment. But I also never liked being in an elevator with a bunch of people. So it's not like new. There's just like a new additional like to it. But anyway, this whole thing started because of Spider-Man No Way Home. Great movie. If you've not seen it, watch it. If you are listening to our show, you understand that we talk about spoilers sometime. And I'm about to say a spoiler, but the movie's been out for like a month. So if you haven't, the movie's been out for like 2 months. So if you haven't seen it,
it's about to hit Blu-ray.
Yeah, it came out in December. So like we're at the end of February. Like if you haven't seen it, you probably know what happened anyway. But Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield recreated the Spider-Man pointing meme, and I screamed when I saw it.
I loved it.
I was so excited. I was so happy. I saw it and I was like, they did it. Because they did it for what the heck did they do it for? They did of course we got the meme. They I don't know. I mean they posted it on like Spider-Man No Way Home like actual Twitter account. And I think it was just in prep for like the DVD and everything, and probably to take photos and like media and stuff for that. They did the meme, and so they posted the meme, and it makes me so happy because like they kind of did it in the movie. There was kind of like a quick thing where they were all like, but it wasn't like the thing. So I'm so happy they actually did it because like,
it's amazing.
I feel like full circle, entirely satisfied. Amazing. One thing that we all really needed was that, and they just released it, and so I just really want to talk about that. But okay, all that being said, also funny bringing up like the COVID thing. I think it's time to take a super quick little break because now we're done with all of our entertainment stuff. We can jump into our movie review. Yes. Finally. Yes. So this week we are talking about the new is it just on HBO Max?
I think so.
It wasn't like theater released or anything, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. So HBO Max, the movie starring Zoe Kravitz called Kimi. we are going to jump into that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to take a quick little break, and we are going to be talking about Kimi.
It's definitely.
Hi, hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. My name is Jessica Lemon, and I am the host of Sour, Sweet, and Spooky, a paranormal podcast with a little true crime squeezed in. Because where there's paranormal activity, there's gotta be some kind of true crime involved, right? I talk about ghosts, aliens, murder, cryptids, urban legends, conspiracy theories, and more. Stories from all over the world for you to enjoy every week. So check me out on social media at Sour Sweet Spooky and pretty much every platform that podcasts are found. And be ready for a brand new story. Oh, and remember, stay sour, stay sweet, stay spooky.
Today we are talking about Kimi. I had just kind of went over the quick little like not synopsis, but the little like info on what the movie is about. I didn't read anything about it before I watched it, which is very, very rare for me. You know that. Usually I watch trailers, I read what the storyline is to kind of understand what I'm going through. So let me read that storyline again. During the COVID-19 pandemic in Seattle, an agoraphobic tech worker discovers evidence of a violent crime while reviewing a data stream and is met with resistance and bureaucracy when she tries reporting it to her company. To get involved, she realizes she must face her greatest fear by venturing out of her apartment and into the city streets, which are filled with protesters after the city council passes a law restricting the movements of the homeless population. So I went in blind, basically.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything for the movie. I don't even think I've seen like billboards or posters or anything for it, which is weird because I live in LA and like driving around, I haven't seen anything for it. I also haven't been out in the like West Hollywood area as often as I used to. Because I used to go out there all the time because one of my buddy lives over there, but he just got a job in Montana for a few months, so I haven't been over there. And then my other buddy, I would like bring him to work. He works over there. He's not working like weekdays anymore. So I don't give him rides to work as often. So I haven't seen anything for it. I didn't know what it was. When you brought it up, I was like, okay. I was like, Zoe Kravitz. I was like, she's great. So like, yeah, I'm sure it'll be pretty decent. So, yeah, so I was kind of excited to kind of get into it. I wrote like a million notes. I showed you.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, let me just scroll really quick. You can see all my notes. Look at all of these. There's quite a bit. So we talked a little bit earlier about how we're kind of reformatting the show. It's not going to be as random. We actually have like a better outline of what we're going to be doing. And so, yeah, we are going to be talking kind of through the synopsis of it, kind of breaking off and having chats about like things that are going on. But this movie came out literally like this week, right?
I think so.
I had the date, but I forgot. Yeah, I had the date up here. So it's literally like February 2022, just came out. I thought the 10th. So it came out the 10th. So 2 weeks ago, exactly. 2 weeks ago, exactly, it came out on HBO. It has a runtime of 1 hour, 29 minutes. It is directed by Steven Soderbergh, who he's directed quite a bit.
Yes, yeah.
He's also produced like a million things, but his main stuff that people will know him from, he did the Magic Mike movies. He did Contagion, the Oceans movies, so Oceans 12, Oceans 11, Oceans 13. He also produced Oceans 8, so he was also on board on that. Aaron Brockovich did some stuff with King of the Hill. Like, he's done a lot. Sex, Lies, and Videotape. So he's directed quite a bit. And it was written by, can't get this guy's last name right, David Koepp, Koepp, David Koepp. Also, brilliant writer. Literally wrote Jurassic Park, and from 1993, the original Jurassic Park. I think he's also on
on hand for some of the newer ones. He did Zathura, that old movie. I say old movie, but it's not like that old. It's like the early 2000s. He did The Secret Window with Johnny Depp. He did Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of Crystal Skull. He wrote the newest Mummy with Tom Cruise. He did oh my god, there's another one that he did that was like really cool. Where'd it go? Oh, Toy Soldiers. He did Toy Soldiers. I literally just saw Spider-Man. He did he wrote the original Spider-Man 2001 or 2002 with Tobey Maguire.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So he wrote that as well. So yeah. So great writer. I feel like this like really good combo of writer director for something like this. I feel like Steven Soderbergh's very good at like creating like a story with his work. I feel like everything that I've seen from what I'm seeing that like I've seen of his, like everything has like a pretty good story. And then David as a writer, very creative, very like well-rounded stories. So if you know anything about those guys, I feel like this is gonna, like, going in starring Zoe Kravitz, I was like, okay, like this is gonna be like a pretty decent movie. Visually it just looked cool from like the little snippet that played before I hit play. So yeah, it's rated R. Another little tidbit for you. There's like some violence, a little bit of booby. I'm just trying to think of like what's in it that makes it like rated R, because it's like brief nudity.
I don't see. That's another thing. I don't
violence.
We've got so much now in movies and TV that has nudity and violence in it that I don't,
and like suggest sexual suggestive stuff.
Yeah,
and
I don't consider what this movie was to be rated R.
Yeah, when I saw that it was rated R, I was like, oh, okay. But like, it's definitely, watching the movie, because it's rated R for violence, language, and brief sexuality and nudity. So like violence, like not too bad. Language, again, not too bad. There's definitely some cursing, but it's not bad. And then like brief sexuality and nudity, there's like one like quick little scene where it's like, so like it's not, I've seen worse for it to be rated R, but I also get why it's rated R, because like I get it. Sorry, there's my scratchy throat. So because we're still working on this like new format, do we just kind of want to go into kind of like the synopsis, what's going on, and kind of talk about it as we go?
Yeah, I guess let's like, what were your initial thoughts with it though? Like,
so watching the movie itself, it wasn't like a big action movie, it wasn't this big action movie, but it wasn't like a bad film. Like, I feel like it was very realistic as to what goes on in this movie, like what happens. I feel like that's very believable. Like I feel like a lot of like action movie, thriller movies, like it's very, some of it's a little far-fetched. I feel like everything that happened in this movie is very realistic. There was nothing that happened in this movie that I was like, that wouldn't happen, or like that seems a little like out of that, like, no, that person wouldn't act that way, like everything that happened in the movie is very, very realistic, very, very believable. You okay, Bowie? He was just like scratching, and I looked over and he was like, blah, blah, blah. You okay, Bubba? Yeah, okay, he's fine. He just like caught the carpet. So yeah, everything about it was very realistic. It was very believable, which I did like about it, because I feel like a lot of these movies that are like these like action thrillers aren't believable. Like it's all far-fetched. It's all like that wouldn't happen. It's all like, oh, people don't actually like
know how to do that kind of stuff. Like, what the heck, you know? So it was all very real. And I think that's why I did like it. I don't know if I would watch it like again. Maybe if I was watching it with somebody that hadn't seen it, but I don't know if I would like actually go out of my way to watch it again, just because like I kind of got everything that I needed from it watching it that first time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's not necessarily like a not watch again, but it's not like a, oh, so good, I'm gonna watch it again kind of movie.
Yeah, you're not running to see this again. But I get it. It is a good see, I didn't get to finish Eagle Eye. I gotta watch that again
with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf.
Oh my god,
that's what this kind of reminded me of. That's what this kind of reminded me of.
Now that you say that, I can definitely kind of see that. I loved Eagle Eye. I absolutely loved Eagle Eye. I do feel like Eagle Eye is a little bit more far-fetched than this, but also incredibly believable, especially nowadays versus when that movie came out, what, like 2000?
Like early, like 04, 06, somewhere in there.
Really? Hold on.
I think. I don't know, because
I feel like
that was a kid when I came out.
I feel like that was 2008. Yeah, 2008.
2008. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like 2007, 2008, because it was during Shia LaBeouf's like reign of Hollywood when he was just making movie after movie. I love him. He's a little woo, but love him as an actor.
I love him.
Every movie he's ever been in, I've absolutely loved. Like Peanut Butter Falcon, phenomenal movie. But yeah, Eagle Eye came out 2008. So, you know, we're 12, 14 years now.
Yeah, I was 18.
We are 14 years past when this movie came out. And I feel like it's more believable and realistic now than it was in 2008.
Enemy of the State as well. Enemy of the State is another one.
I saw Enemy of the State. It's one of the, I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through.
That was another one that's
98. Damn, so that was 20 years before that even.
Yeah.
And it not sucks, but it's crazy that like these movies come out and they're like kind of like far-fetched, kind of like, oh, that wouldn't happen. And then like 10, 15, 20 years later, it's like, yeah, you know what?
You can see it. You can see it. Yeah. Yeah. So, this one was interesting because this is the reason why technology, as much as I love it, I hate it at the same time. Like I despise it because I don't, the thought of a device like just recording like anything,
and I mean we have
weird.
It's strange because it's like we have our phones with us. Like literally just now my watch updated, I put it on and it was like, hey, like would you like to enable the feature that will be able to hear loud noises that might affect your eardrums, you know, like, and it's like it won't record but it won't always be there, but it'll detect when there's loud noises and stuff. And it's crazy that like technology's come to a point where like these things are like normal. Like we all have, I don't at home, but like we like Alexas.
I don't have one.
I don't either. I just have my phone. I don't have one, not because I refuse. I just can't justify spending the money on it because I don't really need it. Like I don't.
That's the thing. I don't need it either. I don't like
I'm sure if I had one, I'd be like, damn, like I was missing out, you know, like, because my buddies have some and it's like, hey, Alexa, like turn this off. Oh, it's trigger warning, not trigger warning, but like, hey, if you have one of those Amazon things that does things for you, we're going to be saying these names a few times throughout this. So maybe cover it with a blanket so it can't hear you. But they'll be like, oh, like, hey, Alexa, like turn off the light or like turn on the light or like, hey, like, you know, like, and it's very similar to what goes on in this movie with the device Kimi, which is, just a different Alexa, a different Siri. Like it's one of those like things that's kind of like another competitor for those. And so like I don't have one just because I don't feel like I need one. But again, if I had one, I feel like I would love it. You know, like I'd be like, oh, I don't have to get up and turn off my lights. Like I could just set it all up and you have everything set to my like my Alexa. Cool. Like I can just ask like them to turn the oven on or something. But I
would
get
almost
it
rather
too.
get
There's
a clapper.
but I feel like that's the progression of the technology. Like it went
It
from having a
is.
clap on, clap off to
Yeah.
like not even having to do that.
Yeah.
And there's this YouTuber, she's on TikTok. Her name is Molly Burke. She's blind. And she
Oh,
do you know who that is?
no, I don't, but I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
She's blind, and she just, I think, recently moved into a new apartment. I'm kind of behind on her stuff, but she popped up on my For You page yesterday, which was funny because it was before I even watched this movie. But she popped up on my For You page, and I saw a couple of her videos, and she got some appliances that are Alexa compatible. Which is good for her because she's blind. So she can't really see all the buttons. She can feel where things are and kind of like understand where things are. But with the Alexa, like she's got like a new air fryer. So now she can be like, Alexa, turn air fryer to 400 degrees, you know? And like when she puts everything in, it can be Alexa, set the timer on the air fryer for this. So it becomes very like convenient. And like, I think in that sense of things, that makes it really, it makes it great for less abled. I don't know the word. I don't think less abled is the correct term.
People with disabilities.
But there's like a term, because like we're able-bodied. There's a term. There's a newer term that's come out that's not as like.
They debuted another term.
Yeah,
I can't keep up.
I know. That's why I can't remember it, but it's like because it's not like handicapped. It's like because that becomes like ableist. There's a lot.
Ableist?
Yeah, so like it's like you're thinking of things like in an ableist way. If like I wouldn't have thought of using Alexa to connect it to like an air fryer, you know, to use that, you know, because I wouldn't see a need in that. However, there are people that can absolutely benefit. And that was me being like ableist, just like not even thinking about that, which is why it's super important to have people with disabilities in these development things, in the development of these like things. So Molly Burke, she got like some stuff that's like Alexa capable or compatible, so she can live more independently. And I think I don't know if her mom still lives with her or not, but I keep getting all these spam calls. Stop it. But so she can live more independently, and she's lived alone before. She has a service dog. She just got a new service dog. And I don't know his name, but so she's very independent. So I can see how these devices would be super beneficial for people and like their independence, whether they're fully able-bodied like we are or if they're not. But again, it's like for me personally, I don't really feel like I would need it. But again, if I had one, I feel like I would love it and use it.
I would hate it. Like because I like even for my camera, like my computer, I have one of those sliding covers on my camera.
Really?
And, I don't. The thought of like just walking past my computer
and like somebody being tapped in or something.
Yeah, and I know realistically, the odds of someone actually watching me on my computer is slim to none. I don't do anything. I don't even go anywhere. Like I'm boring. Like you're not
federal involved
agent,
in any like. Yeah, I was like your FBI agents. Like
this dude is
I gotta sign to this guy. I gotta sign to this guy that won't even leave his house to go see a movie. Come on.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure
when he has a
really
podcast
cares.
about movies.
Yeah,
he won't even leave his house to go see movies. God, I got a boring assignment here, guys.
I'm pretty sure no one would care to actually see what I'm doing. Like I'm just playing PS4 on downtime, right? Like no one really cares. But like the thought of
I care.
Someone, I appreciate it.
I won't tap into your computer to see what you're doing, but like I care about you, okay?
But it's just like, it's weird. Like the thought of having someone listening, that like just thinking of someone listening to me is weird. So
yeah.
And it's bad enough that I carry my phone. I don't carry my phone around with me all around the house, right? Like there's times where I just like I don't even care. Like I just walk away.
It's like you leave it on your bed and you go in the living room and like watch TV or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other story because outside clothes sit on that couch. So it's a whole other story. I don't do that, but
you leave it on the counter and go and no, okay. You leave it in your coat pocket.
No, I'll leave it on my bed because
that's right, because you wouldn't put it in your coat pocket because you don't go anywhere.
No. It's just like the thought of somebody actually just sitting and listening. Like I can understand where the
I'm sorry. It's just funny. It's just like we're sitting here recording a podcast so people can sit and listen to us talk.
Yes.
And we're talking about how we don't want.
I see how ironic it is, but that's like it's like where I want someone listen to me cool.
versus
when someone's just like listening in my private time. Like no, that's not no. So I would never, because I'm just gonna put the light on. Like I don't care about sitting there. Hey, Alexa, turn. I don't care about that. I don't even have Siri on my phone. Like I turned it off.
Really?
Yeah, I don't use Siri. So
I try to, and she doesn't listen to me.
Yeah, so. Siri hates me as an operating system. Like I'll type stuff up and she'll just mess me up all the way. So like we already have issues. So
hey Siri.
Yeah. So no, it's like
not turn it on.
Yeah, listening to you. See, and that's the thing.
Like, I have her enabled. Like it's not like I don't have her enabled, but if I'm like, hey Siri, I expect that bubble to pop up and she's not popping up.
Yeah, I'm so good. I'm so good. But I can see where it's beneficial for someone that's not able to do certain things the way we do them. So I see the benefits. But like with this film, it's like everybody just has this Kimi device. And it seems like this is everywhere. This seems like this is the Siri, even though it's a competitor of Siri.
Yeah, it's like, so in the movie, you see like a couple of billboards for it, which is like normal. You see billboards for like iPhones and stuff all the time. So it's like you see a couple of billboards for it, and I think like at the beginning they're trying. I think it's still new. I don't think everybody has one.
No,
obviously,
I'm saying everyone and that's directly connected.
Oh yeah,
to Angela in the film.
Well, and I think that's because like everybody that's directly connected to Angela, works with it. You know, I mean, like the one Terry, her neighbor from across the way, it doesn't seem like he has one. There's no evidence. There's no like. We don't see it in his apartment because we only really kind of see into his apartment, but we don't actually see it. The other neighbor, we don't see his place, so we don't see it there either. So it's not something that like literally everybody has. Because what's his name? Yuri, I don't think he has one either. He's just a computer hacker.
Yeah. Well, no, he did because
did he have one?
He was talking to her and Kimi started acting up, I think, and he was like, "Hey, Kimi, shut off," or something like that.
Oh no, that's Darius. It was a different one.
There were two hackers. There was two hackers. That's right.
Because there was Darius, who was a coworker, so he also did like the analyzation of stuff, and then there was Yuri, who was like the one that was working for Revis.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I remember that. Okay.
Writing my notes down was great. I remember everybody's names.
Perfect.
So. So it's like not everybody had it, but like a majority of the focus of this film did. But that's also because the focus of this film was it was people at corporate. It was her who worked with it. You know, it was one of the guys from corporate who gifted the girl Samantha one.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's everybody, like it's very focused around this because the people involved just happened to be involved with people that worked for the company.
And she was very interesting, Angela. She was very interesting just in general because like she's obviously germaphobe. Well,
so it's not necessarily so an agoraphobic person, which is what she is. Which I'm it's funny because like I didn't, like I said, I didn't read, so I didn't know that she was like an had oh, I closed it now, damn it. I had the definition for it up. It's essentially somebody who doesn't like to be in big crowds. Hold on.
I don't like being in big crowds.
I know I feel like you are a very good definition of agoraphobia, which is so funny because when I was watching this before. When I was watching this, I was like, Derrick. So what it is, I feel yours is not as severe. Hers is more severe. Hers is on the more like severe end of the spectrum on it. So agoraphobia, which is what Angela Childs has, is an extreme or irrational fear of entering open or crowded places, of leaving one's home, or of being in places from which escape is difficult. So, okay. You know, at first I thought she just had like severe social anxiety. But agoraphobia is kind of a form of like a social anxiety with like mental health. And we find out later on in the film like why she has this fear.
Right.
Which
you don't think she's germophobic?
No, I don't think so.
She was putting on sanitizer.
So
and doing this the entire time, dry her hands.
Yeah. And I think that also has to do with the anxiety because she brings up COVID she does say COVID. So like, I wasn't sure initially, you know, she, well, let's go into the synopsis a little bit now. Cause like kind of, we're now starting to discuss the film a little bit more. So basically it starts off, there's just some dude on a conference call or on like a news interview call. We don't know who he is. And he's talking about his technology called Kimi, which is similar to Alexa and Siri. And with this interviewer, and he's like talking about this event that's coming up, and he's like, hey, come back to me next week after this event, and like we'll talk more about it. And she's like, oh, I absolutely will, you know. So he leaves the interview, it's over. His office is in his garage, but it looks like a fancy office when he's on his camera. And it's funny because that's so like nowadays, like that's how things are. People, like everybody's offices are just like I have fancy lights, you know, like I have big lights set up right now, so I have like good lighting in here. He had like a ring light and everything. So he goes out of the garage, goes out to see his wife, and they're talking about like money stuff and how he now has tons of money and they're going to be making lots of money because of the thing. He goes to see his kid. So we know he's a family man, you know, he's got a wife and he's got a kid. So now we established that. But on his way to go upstairs to see his kid, he gets a call. And the call is somebody asking for a wire transfer. We're like, why? All right. So he's a family man, but like, what the heck is he into? Like, who is this guy? Like, he's the CEO of this company that we've now know the name of the film comes from. It's the Kimi. So that's where we get that. So he gets that call for some money transfer and like, oh, so he's in some shit, you know, like he's not just like a CEO of a company. He's not just got like a good family dynamic going on. He's in some shit. I also just want to quick point out, like he was literally in like a button down and like a tie. I mean, he had sweatpants and like slippers on, and I'm like, bro, me too. And so it goes from that little exchange, and then it cuts over to now we get to see Zoe. We don't know her character's name yet. I just know her as Zoe. So we see this girl. I love her, by the way. Her cute little blue like hair, adorable. I thought it's so cute. I feel like she's one of those people that you can like literally do anything like style wise with her, and it would look phenomenal. Like hair color, like style, clothes, like anything, like it would look great. And her apartment's really nice. I wish I lived in an apartment like that.
Her apartment was really nice.
Yeah. So my observations were she seems like a clean person. They show her making her bed, which is maybe like on an edge of like an OCD where she has to, you know, make her bed. She has to make sure she's like sanitized. She brushes her teeth. She cleans her retainer. So she's very, very cleanly person. So we do see that. But I think it's nothing like super out of the ordinary. Like it's a little nitpicky, like a little bit when she like is adjusting her sheets and stuff, but it's not super out of the ordinary. But being somebody who does have anxiety and stuff, sometimes those things, if it's something you can control, you're gonna want to make it like
sense.
perfect.
That makes
You
more
know
sense.
what I mean?
Because I was
Like,
looking
if
at
you
her
have
like, you're not a germaphobe. Like, if like, let me put it like this: you're not an actual germaphobe. Like,
yeah, like so it's like sometimes like if you have anxiety, like something as simple as like being able to make your bed and like make it perfect, like it's something that you can control that, you know, will help lessen your anxiety. um and so I wasn't like too thrown off by that, like, you know, so it's just like, okay, like she's very clean, she's very like trying to put together, like, okay. um she's working out, the news comes on, we hear the news talk about like protests, um which is which comes back into play later. um and yeah, protests that involve the homeless population, which we read in that little synopsis or little blurb. It's like the back of a book or whatever. And they mention like something that I was like, okay, so they're on the West Coast. I don't know what it was that I saw that I was like, all right, the West Coast, because again, I didn't read that it was Seattle, but it's based in Seattle. So yeah, so she gets her like breakfast stuff. She's drinking coffee. She's looking out the window. She sees her neighbor across the street that she like kind of likes. But then you also get like a look of this other neighbor that like lives in the same building as this guy, but like up on like the higher floor. So she can't see into his apartment, but he can see into hers. And we're like, who is this guy? I like immediately was like, like I know a little bit of what this movie is about. Like this guy this doesn't seem like a good guy. But yeah, I mean, so she texts the one neighbor, Terry, we find his name is Terry, to like go downstairs and have some breakfast. There's a food truck downstairs, and so she's like, let's go get some breakfast. And everything seems normal. Like it doesn't seem like anything. She gets up, she showers, she like takes her meds, like she gets her stuff together. She's probably running a little late because we see Terry down at the food truck, and she is still getting her stuff together, and then she can't leave. And that's where we see that like agoraphobia. She's ready to go. She puts her mask on, which I was like, I saw that and I was like, okay. That was like my first thing. I was like, okay, she got a mask. Okay. And it's so funny. I'm so conditioned to seeing like sanitizer and like medical masks and stuff that when she was grabbing all the stuff from the bowl, I literally didn't realize that there was masks in there. I didn't realize.
I didn't either.
I'm so conditioned now to see that stuff in my everyday life that I didn't even recognize that that's what that was.
But that's when I realized, I was like, she can't be like a real germaphobe, because why in the hell would you put keys
and
on
like
top of your mask?
Yeah. And so yeah,
that didn't
so
make
like
any sense to me.
yeah, so like I saw that. Also, like she had one single key on a puzzle piece keychain. Like I have so much shit on my key. Like I have, but I mean, I guess if you're in a city like that, you probably don't have a car, so you don't have a car key, because the public transport's so good, and like
that's how my keychain will look.
Yeah, like I have my house keys, so it's like because I have a building key, my apartment key, my mail key, my car key, and then I have a key for my PO box. And then I have a key, and it's all on like a keychain. So it's like it seems like a lot, but it's stuff I use every day. minus my PO box. I don't check my PO box that much, but I have it with me in case I am like in the area of my PO box. I'll just pop in and check. But it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's all stuff that's like literally necessary every day. Oh, and my garage clicker, you know, to get into so you know, so it's like it seems like there's a lot of my keychain, but like if you don't have any of that, then like just a single key to get into your apartment is like all you really need. Which is usually what I take if I go out. I just grab my building key and my apartment key. But yeah, so I was just like, okay, so she's getting ready, she grabbed her mask, and then I was like, oh, she has a mask on, and I was like, She has a mask. Okay, so like I wonder if there's like something else going on like in the like environment that's making her wear a mask, because I have not seen a single movie that, even though like in the past couple of years, that was either made during COVID or has come out during COVID that
Oh,
mentions COVID.
yeah. There was
Like,
one on HBO. I forgot what it's
I mean,
called.
there's some shows that have done it, like some of those like medical shows. I've seen some of that. That they bring it up that that's like a thing that they're dealing with is COVID and things like that. But like otherwise, like big movies, like I haven't seen anything. Like reality shows I have, because you see like the people like, or they talk about COVID like messing with stuff or whatnot. But like I haven't seen a movie that has used like COVID as like a plot point.
Yeah, I think it was called The Lockdown. Like they
Oh,
were
that makes sense.
it was shot I want to say it was shot like at the beginning of the pandemic, maybe like a few months into it.
Literally, what the heck? I looked up the lockdown and common questions for COVID-19. The second one, it goes, can you get COVID-19 from sex? Like, like, bro, what?
Oh God, that's
Like,
hilarious.
are people that really fucking dumb?
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first question is, when will the COVID pandemic end? And the second question is, can you get COVID from sex? I hate everything.
No, I'm sorry. It's called Lockdown. That's what it's called. But it directly referenced Lockdown. Yeah. It was.
I did see something for this.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is this
good.
The crime?
It's about a crime heist too.
Lockdown follows a couple who plan to execute a heist of a jewelry store. It was written, financed, and filmed entirely during the COVID-19 pandemic. So they do bring up COVID during that.
That's the
It only had a $3 million budget.
Really? That's pretty good. No, but
they did this for fun.
That was the plot of the movie though, because like they were locked
because
down.
of COVID. They were able to go try to like
no, they were locked down because of COVID, and they were starting to argue a lot. And it's like, okay, well, we can't do this, and then it's like they're trying to figure out what they can do to stay sane and all. Like it was a whole thing. So it was like, I think this is probably the second movie that I've seen that's kind of really gone into it.
Yeah. Wow. I literally I love Anne Hathaway.
It's a good movie. It's a good watch.
Okay, so I'll probably check that out too. But for me, this movie is the first movie I've seen that has used. Oh my gosh, there it is! I felt my mic. This is the first movie that I've seen that uses COVID as a plot point. So I guess Locked Down, and now this one,
yes,
that use it as like a main plot point. That's like a big like film.
Yeah.
And so she. Like see them with their masks. I was like, oh, okay. I wonder like if that's going to be like a plot thing, not COVID. I was thinking maybe there's like some kind of war going on, and like there's all this other stuff going on, so people are wearing masks. Because then you get a shot of the guy downstairs, and he also has a mask, and like the other people that are at the food truck have masks, and the people walking back. And I'm like, okay, so everybody's got masks on. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she ends up not going. And like she's got all those medications probably to like just deal with all of her like anxiety and stuff, which makes sense. She literally like, you see this like struggle with her. She wants to go so bad, but she just can't. And again, I also get that from like anxiety and depression. Like sometimes you just really want to do something, and you just literally you just can't.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten ready to go out and do things, and then I've just been like, I can't do it,
Yeah.
So I related with her a lot with that. And like, yeah, she just got a lot of anxiety, because even like the construction guys they're like doing construction. She's like, no, we agreed that you were not going to be doing construction at this time on this day or whatever. I don't know what day it was, but like whatever it was, like no construction at this time or whatever. And the guy was like, come on, like,
yeah,
like I really got to get this apartment done. And she's like, well, you know the deal. So we find out that the girl that plays Zoe is playing is named Angela. The day goes on and it's nighttime. She checks in her neighbor that she didn't get breakfast with, and he's just getting home and he has food. And she's like, hey, like, that looks good. And he's like, yeah, it's just this food. And she's like, I'm not talking about the food. And so then like, that's what threw me off when so she invites him over and he comes over, and she gets mad that he didn't buzz in, that he like came in because like somebody else was walking into the apartment, so he was able to get in. She was like brushing her teeth, so she was like getting ready for him to come over, and she was like mad. So I get that a little bit. Like I'm always like, hey, let me know when you're like on your way, and like let me know when you're here. But like so he was like, what? Like I came up, and she was like, nah, whatever. But so this is where that like sex scene comes. It's very quick. It's very much like they do their deed, and then they're still talking. She literally like just puts on like some underwear and like a tank top, and then starts stripping the sheets from the bed, and he's just chilling there like no problem. Like this is what they do. So that was like so strange. Like he just shows up, they like sleep together, and then she's still like, oh, now I gotta clean all my sheets. And I'm like, where?
Right then.
Literally right that moment. Like it's not even like we're gonna like chill and cuddle for a bit or like anything. She was like, all right, I got what I wanted. Like I'm gonna clean my sheets now. Like she literally stripped her bed of the sheets and threw them in the washer, and then like was like, okay, bye, I have work to do.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah,
I was like, okay.
Which was another reason why I'm like, okay, yeah, she's definitely like, there's no way she's a germaphobe, because
she wouldn't have just like slept with somebody who walked into her apartment.
Exactly.
You know?
And
like,
not just that, but he's wearing socks in the bed.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I know, because I don't know where you've been walking in these socks, bro. Like that. See that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm
that's where you're like.
yeah. And then also on top of that, you're just laying right on the mattress. No.
Yeah.
No. Like.
Yeah.
You gotta lay on a sheet, like on the mattress. Like yeah. So. Yeah. That's why I was paying attention to all of that.
Yeah, no, I missed the sock part, but
yeah.
But I mean Seattle, it's chilly, so maybe like
turn the heat on.
They were cold.
Turn the heat on.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could do that.
Yeah,
I don't turn the heat on. No. I can't sleep with socks on.
No, I'm like at all. It's just that's like, annoying.
It just makes me uncomfy. I can't do it. I feel trapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People who sleep with socks on, what are you doing?
God bless you. God
bless you. You are a different kind of person. I like if I like am exhausted and I like fall asleep and I'm like maybe taking a nap or something. Like sometimes I'm just like, I will wake up and feel gross, and I'm like, you know why? Because did you hear that?
Wow.
That's why. No,
that's a sock. That's a sock wearer.
I know. I yeah. He's mad. He's like, listen, I wear my socks. But no, I'll fall asleep because I'm exhausted, and I wake up and I feel gross. And I'm like, oh, I'm wearing socks.
Yeah.
I like how we tangented off into socks. Okay, so I'm just trying to get through what's going on here. Okay, so he tries to get her to go out, and she's like, stop, like, I'm not gonna leave, like, you know that. Like, he thought, and he was like, oh, we're this morning. And she's like, okay, but like, I didn't go down, like, whatever. So they get mad or whatever. She takes this, like, a bottle of, like, tea or whatever, and places it on the edge of the counter. And like I saw that and I was like, I hate that you did that when somebody's like, there was this trend on TikTok that it was like, show your anxiety, like what your anxiety feels like, show what your anxiety feels like. And people would take like a glass of water, put it on the edge of their counter, so it was like barely there, like a teeny little bump would knock it off, and then they would take like another glass of water and pour more water into that glass of water. And I'm like, that is exactly what this anxiety feels like, and I need you to put that glass further back on the counter.
It
right
looked
now.
like it was halfway off too.
It did. It was. That's what I mean. It's like she put it on the counter, like on the edge of the counter, and I hated it. And so
It looked
I couldn't
fake,
stop thinking.
though.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. But like she still did it. And like I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, why the fuck did she just leave this glass like that? And then she yells at him, the other guy, Terry, he leaves and she's like, I need to go back to work. I didn't finish enough today. Blah, blah, blah. So her job is literally she analyzes what the Kimi doesn't understand. So any time somebody's using a Kimi and is like, hey Kimmy, play this song, and then it's like, okay, I'll set up a playlist for that artist, and they're like, no, play this song. And so it like records that like it didn't work, like it didn't do what it was supposed to do, and it goes to her and she analyzes it and resolves it so that the Kimmy can learn and grow, and now these commands will no longer be confused with something else. And so she's sitting there, she's listening, and then she hears like one of these commands come through, and it's just really loud music. She hears like kind of like arguing or fighting. She hears a girl like screaming like stop, and she's like trying to figure out what's going on. And so she moves it, like saves it to her computer, tries to like mess with the levels to hear it better, and she still can't. So she goes to her closet and she pulls out this like big old like old school like mixing box. I don't even know what the fuck that's called, but it's like old school like mixer. Plugs it into her computer, gets it in there, and so she's playing with the levels, really trying to get the music down so she can only hear the people talking. To see, I don't know if she was just like, oh, like something must have like been said, but or if she's like, I think somebody's getting hurt, I really need to like get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, because you could hear a thud or something like that.
Yeah, you hear like are you good? Are you good? He's like, yeah, you just had an itch.
Yeah, you could hear a thud while she was playing the track.
Yeah, and you hear that, you hear like
isolate
the voices.
Noise. Yeah.
And so she gets to the point where she hears properly like a woman saying like stop it, and a guy saying like shut your mouth, bitch.
Yeah.
And like that's when she's like, oh shit, takes off her headphones, or she's like, oh shit, like I just heard what I just heard. And then that fucking bottle that she left on the damn counter smashes onto the ground and scares her. And I'm like, that's what you get for leaving your bottle on the counter like that. I was so and her teeth still hurt, so she definitely has like something wrong with her teeth, which is something that they like go to like a gazillion times, but there's never any real like resolution at the end of the movie with it, and that's annoying, but like whatever. So she emails whoever she's supposed to email when it comes to like things where like, oh, maybe I heard a crime, so that can get bubbled up and get taken care of. And she goes to bed, wakes up, gets a call from she wakes up and her mouth hurts. She gets on FaceTime with her dentist, and her dentist is like, you need to come in, you totally have like a root canal, which I had a root canal like 2 years ago. Like your fucking teeth hurt. You are in pain. It is awful. And she's just chilling with that. Like I could not. And so her dentist is like, I thought you were getting like better, like and she was like, yeah, but then COVID happened. And I was like, oh, she said it. She said COVID. So it is COVID. It is why like people are wearing masks still. Like I was like, okay, that's what I just needed to hear that. Cause I was like, it seems so like COVID, like, so that's why. And I'm like, okay, that also like makes me understand a little bit more why she wants to be home. She doesn't want to go outside. Like she doesn't want to get sick. Like I get it. So then, yeah, it's like but she's had social anxiety and stuff since before COVID. Cause she mentions that like COVID just like kind of like made it worse again. Like he was like, you were getting better. And she's like, yeah, but then COVID happened. So like, it's not better anymore. But Yeah, so she gets off the phone with the dentist, ends up talking to the guy from her job, who's like, why did you send that to me? Like, I don't want to hear shit like that. Like, why did you send me this audio? Just like forget about it. Like, it's nothing. Like, just delete it, whatever, like, and just do the rest of your work for the day. And she was like, no, like, I always finish my work.
Now that guy, was that not the CEO?
It was not.
Because I
thought so as well.
I thought it was him. It looked like him.
I thought it was him. He was just like a
regular guy,
bit old white business dude. Yeah. So I also thought it was the same guy at first. It's not, because the children in the back were girls. The CEO has a son.
Yeah.
So I thought so at first, but like the kids were playing in the background being like nuisances, which again, like brought into like the COVID where like people are working from home and they have to deal with like their family in the back, their kids in the back, there's pets, like all that kind of stuff. Which is funny because like that reminded me of like a video call I had with like our district or a regional manager or something, like early COVID. Like her kids were like running around and she's like, guys, like I'm on a call, like so that was kind of funny to see because I was like, oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
But so she's like talking to the guy and she's like, I think somebody was assaulted, and he's like, you can't even hear it, just delete it, just move on, like we have this thing coming up, we don't need any kind of bad press, like da da da. And she's like, who do I get in contact with? Like, I need to figure out. And he's like, I don't have access to that. Nobody does. It's all anonymous. Like the only person that might have access to like finding out who this belongs to is this person. She's like, okay, well, give me their information. He was like, I don't have it. Like, look it up. She's very persistent in figuring this out, which made me think like for her to like hear this and be like, oh, somebody was assaulted. Like for her to be this like invested in it, either she dealt with assault or she knows somebody that dealt with assault. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's why she has like these like anxiety problems, you know, maybe something happened to her and that makes sense. And then maybe she was finally getting better, finally ready to go out, and then COVID hit and it just made everything worse again. And so she finally gets in contact with the lady who might have access to the information to find out where that stream came from, like what device had that thing on it, which I'm assuming either this is a startup and it's just in the Seattle area, or it's something that's like all over the place and she just happens to only be the person that gets this stuff for like the Seattle area. Because like how convenient that like the stream is like from where she's from, you know?
Yeah.
So she probably just gets the stuff for that area. So I lost my spot. I bumped it and it like scrolled away. So she gets in contact with the person. It's the assistant, and she just tries to set up an appointment. She's calling constantly, like nothing. They're not finding like any information or whatever, or getting an information. Oh, she's busy. And I'm like, wow, fucking, of course she is. And then she calls her neighbor to be like, hey, the one that she slept with, she calls him to be like, hey, like, you want to come over? And he's like, I don't know, like I've got all that stuff going on. She was like, tells him that she like thinks she heard a crime. And he's like, what? She's like, I'll tell you about it if you come over.
Yeah, because he's like a lawyer.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He is, yeah, because he later on mentions that he's like in court all day. So he's like a lawyer. So she's like, I heard something and I might need help. And like he like talks about like how her like Instagram is all fake, or not her, the other guy talks about like how her Instagram's all fake. Darian.
Engineer.
Yeah, Darian talks about how like her Instagram's fake because he's like, he keeps calling her like beautiful or whatever. And she's like, it's kind of funny, but like also like not funny, but like I don't know where he's from, Ukraine or whatever, which
I think he was,
which lots going on there now. But he's like, oh, the Me Too movement isn't for like 50 years here. So he's like, all right, like hot stuff or whatever. And I was like, ew. But so she's talking to him and he's like, yeah, you got your fake life. on like Instagram, like none of that's like real. And she's like, listen, like, so she's faking like her life. She's posting stuff like old photos from like pre-COVID time. She's posting stuff to make it look like she's out and about doing stuff,
which I find interesting that they never showed.
They never showed any of it, but at the same time, I don't think they really had to. It's just something that like I really feel like this movie kind of shows how COVID kind of affected a lot of people, because it's like a lot of people developed anxiety, whether anything happened pre-COVID or not. Like a lot of people developed anxiety. A lot of people developed fears of crowds and all of these things. A lot of people wanted to be able to go do things, but they couldn't. So they like pretended to go do things, or if they did do things, they like really made it seem like it was like more than what it was, just to kind of like show off that like, hey, like I'm still happy. I'm still living my life. Like even if they weren't. So I'm fine that they didn't show us anything that was going on, but it's also like, it makes sense. Like it kind of goes with like what's going on.
Yeah, it would have. The only reason why I say it's interesting because it would have been nice to at least get a little visual of her life
of like what she's like showing the world versus like what is actually going on. Yeah,
something. Because if you have people that, especially like her mom, for example, who when she calls her, she's kind of like she's irritated like with her. Yeah, but she's like irritated with Angela. Yeah, like calling me like what's up, like, and it's a weird dynamic, but it almost feels as if her mom is annoyed that she lives her life the way she does. Yeah, so enclosed.
I see that too, because I think her mom also brings up that like she's like, I know you didn't leave your apartment. What am I seeing this stuff for?
Yeah. So if you have people saying this, it would be that's probably the only aspect that I would be like, I would have liked to have at least seen a little bit of that. Yeah. Prior to all this.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's a little flashback or something. Like
maybe. Something. Like just something to kind of give us like an idea of like, but at the same time, like we're just learning about this person. So we're figuring her out as the movie goes on, which I think is kind of cool. I kind of like figuring it out as we go. So she then has her therapist call, and her therapist is like, hey, we were supposed to start our thing like 20 minutes ago. She's like, oh, sorry, I got like really into something at like for work, and I like forgot, like I lost track of time or whatever. And then she talks about like the therapist is like, oh, like are you ready to talk about what happened at Evergreen? And she's just like, yeah, like we'll talk about this. And literally is like pretending to be ready to talk to her therapist, and is like, okay, so like what I feel like is really going on is like, and then like closes out the window like as if she like lost connection or something. And I was like, damn.
Which was a good move. I was sitting there, I was like, man, there's times where I've been on Zoom where I wish like I had thought of that. Like,
right. There's one trick too, that if you're talking to somebody on the phone and you don't want to be talking to them anymore, just put your phone into airplane mode like mid call, because it'll just say that the call failed. It won't tell them that you hung up. Life hack.
Thank you. I am definitely doing
You're like, I'm gonna utilize that now.
Hey man, trust and believe that airplane mode is gonna be used multiple times.
Right. So she ends the call with her therapist, then goes back into trying to get more information on this dream and who it belongs to. And so she's talking with Darius, and he's able to help her get the codes. And that's why she kind of ends the things with her therapist, because he's texting her like the codes and stuff that she needs to get the information for the original like stream that she heard. And so we find out that the person who the Kimi belonged to is named Samantha. And so now Angela's able to go in and like listen to everything that Samantha has had her Kimi record.
And that is my problem.
So, okay. it is what I understood from this. What she says is Samantha goes, Kimmy, open recording. So she's telling Kimmy to record. The Kimmy isn't just randomly picking this stuff up.
No, but I think she did open record at the end. Like those are all commands for sure.
Yeah.
But I still have a problem with. I guess I just have a problem with being recorded with like, because like.
Well, she doesn't do it at the end. She does it at the beginning of the recording. She says, "Kimmy, open recording."
Was that? That was the beginning? Because
Yeah.
I thought that was the end where everything took place.
No, because she does Kimmy open recording, and it then you hear like the knock, or you it's like Kimmy open recording, and then you hear like the knock on the door, and then he comes in, and like all this stuff going on.
That was the last call. I mean, the last recording. Her last.
And
that's what I'm saying.
And the ones earlier also, she goes, Kimmy, open recording, and then you hear like a banging on the door, and then the guy comes in and he's yelling at her, and she's like, "You raped me," and he's like, "I didn't do that." Blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, there was another call. Yeah.
So because at first I thought that as well, but I went back and rewatched it.
Yeah.
And so she does say like Kimmy open recording before like all of these like long recordings of just like stuff. So because that's what I thought too.
So I guess that is consent.
Yeah. So and that's because that's what I thought too. I thought it was just like recording, like it was like a glitch or something. It was just recording, but it wasn't. It was literally, she says like, "Hey Kimmy, open recording," so it'll just like record whatever's going on, which was really smart on her point. I think that was super smart of Samantha to do. And Samantha is also played by Erica Christensen. Because even though it's a recording, the movie does a really cool thing where it shows us like a distorted video of like what's actually happening in the room when that's going on. It was very interesting. I think it's cool how they did that because they made it more, they gave a face to the voice. But they also gave a face to the guys that come in, which I think was really important for us to see as well as like viewers of this. Erica Christensen, she is in, oh my God, what is she in? She's in a cheaper. Oh, wait a second. They're making another Cheaper by the Dozen. She's playing Kate. She's playing the mom. Stop it.
Another Cheaper by the Dozen.
Oh my goodness. I loved those movies. Gabrielle Union is. Zach Braff is playing Paul Baker. Erica is playing Kate. Oh, so it's like a remake. But she's playing Kate. Kate's the oldest daughter, right?
I don't remember their names.
I think Kate was the oldest daughter. But she was played by Hilary Duff. So why isn't Hilary Duff? No. She was not played by Hilary. Hilary Duff was the second oldest daughter. Oh, this has a great cast. Oh, I'm excited. I'm usually not excited for these. That's funny that this popped up. Sorry. So she's in a new Cheaper by the Dozen movie, which I'm actually excited to see. But she's in like Parenthood, Robot Chicken. She has a bunch of voices for that. Mercy, she was in the movie Mercy. Jesus. I'm seeing like a bunch of like older stuff. Wuthering Heights, the movie, the TV, that 70s show. She was an episode of that. What the heck? Where is? Oh, Leave It to Beaver. She was in that too. What the heck? I know her face, and I feel like I've seen her in a million things, and now I'm not seeing.
She's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's been a ton of things, but like, what are her like? Oh, The Perfect Score. There we go. Goodness gracious! I just recently watched this movie. I love this movie so much. The Perfect Score. It's funny because in The Perfect Score, Scarlett Johansson is in it, and so is Chris Evans. Pre-Marvel. They've worked together a few times actually. I love that movie. So she's in that. That's why I recognized her like immediately. I was like, oh shit, that's that girl. But so she plays that character. We see her very briefly, but like in a very distorted like video way of like what the audios are playing. And so she's confronting Brad, and Brad's talking about how he's like there's like money stuff going on, and they're fighting basically. And then the next recording, you hear her get murdered.
so if you're just listening to the recording, which is what Angela's doing, she's just listening to the recording, she hears everything going on. We as viewers see it happen. And it's pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So like good on Samantha for recording it. Like good for her to be like, hey, like Kimmy, like open record, because like shit.
Yeah.
And then Angela is like very clearly upset, which valid. And starts crying, and then she gets a call, and it's the lady from HR who plays it's Rita Wilson. She's in a million things. She plays Natalie Chowdhury. I ended up calling her MC. Because I call her Miss Chowdhury, but I couldn't remember her name, so I was just saying MC. So if I say MC, that's who I'm talking about. I'll try to catch it before I say it.
I gotcha.
So she calls, and like she's like apparently she takes very disturbing things very seriously. If there's a crime happening, she's very serious about it. She's like, hey, like come to the office. Like she's like, we're gonna call the FBI, but I need you to come into the office, and like so we can listen to these recordings and kind of move on from there. Which I'm like, oh God, like Angela has anxiety. She can't leave the apartment, but she's like, I am on my way. Like, so she gets up, she downloads all the files onto like a USB. She gets everything like ready to go. She showers, she goes. And so she gets ready, and I was ready for her to not leave. Like I really thought she was just not going to leave her apartment.
Yeah.
But I have in all caps, she goes through her routine to get ready and gets ready to go and leave, and leaves her apartment.
Yeah.
So she actually left. Very like kind of cool thing to see. Like this is so important to her that she's leaving her safety. Oh my goodness.
Sorry. I found it interesting though when she was leaving, or as she was walking, like she had to be on
the wall, like as far away from like any other potential person as possible. And then when she passes somebody, she like stops and like freezes.
Yeah.
Which like, I mean, we do find out that she was assaulted. I don't know how they don't really talk about like the extent of her assault, but like I can absolutely understand like if she was assaulted, like her reacting so like viscerally to like being around people. Like somebody walks by, she's like, I can't.
But not even just that. Like when she got to the what was that, bus or train, whatever she was on.
I think it's like a bus stop. Yeah.
Bus stop. When she got there, she was staying on the wall, just like so no one could like.
Oh yeah, in that corner. Yeah. It was like the train station, I think.
And then when she got onto the bus, she's sitting on the very last seat.
Yeah.
In the corner.
So she's trying
to.
I
can understand that.
Yeah. So she's like, she's out, which is great. Proud of her, but she's still trying to separate herself as much as she possibly can.
Yeah.
But like, so this is so important to her, even though she's terrified, she knows she needs to go out and do this. It's funny, as she's like leaving her apartment, the maintenance guy that she was like on the phone with earlier, that's like, I know you don't leave your apartment. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, what's up? Wait, you left. And she's just booking it. And he's like, oh, okay, bye. Like, but also we again see who I thought the creepy guy from upstairs is watching her leave her apartment with his binoculars. Like he has binoculars. He's watching her leave her apartment. I'm like really, at this point, I was like really curious. Now I wasn't like, oh, he's just some creepy dude. I was like, okay, I have a note. I wrote, I'm super curious as to who he is and what his role is. Like, is he gonna protect her from the corporate people, or because this is my thoughts at this moment. I said, is he going to protect her from the corporate people that I feel are going to try to sweep this whole thing under the rug, or does he know something, or does he work for does he also work for the Kimi company?
Yeah.
And then she's on her way to go to corporate, and then we see that Brad, who is the person who raped Samantha and then paid to get her killed,
Mm-hmm.
is in fact the man we saw at the beginning of the movie, the CEO of Kimi.
Yeah.
So now we know who was on the phone, the person that he paid to kill Samantha. So that's who he was paying. And so then my next thought was like, because there's then like a call to Brad, like, hey, like she's on her way, like she left her apartment, like one of your people found out what's going on. So then I'm like, the guy in the window is an informant, and he calls Brad to tell him he's on her way to the HR to report what she heard.
You know, I didn't even think about him during that moment.
Really? Yeah, because I was like, why else would they use his view of like the apartment or whatever? Because like who else would fucking know that she's leaving her apartment other than this guy that literally watched her leave her apartment?
Yeah.
So she's using sanitizer, you know, she's still like very like antsy about being around people and being out like during COVID, which makes sense. There's some people that are wearing masks, some that are not, which is very like reminiscent to how things are currently.
Yep.
She gets to the office, and so like she starts talking to Miss Chowdhury, and like I just hate this bitch from like moment number one. Like even when she was talking to her on the phone, I was like, I don't like this lady. And so she's like, I was like, she sounds like she's full of fake sympathy after hearing Angela talk about the story. And then she asks her to hear the streams. So she wants to hear all these things. And Angela's like, no, let's call the FBI first. And MC is like, MC again, Miss Chowdhury, Chowdhury, that's why I wrote MC. Is like, how do I know what I'm dealing with? And Angela's like, because I just told you what the fuck. And this bitch brings up the fact that Angela has taken mental health leave in the past. And Angela's like, why do you have that on my file? Like, why does that matter to anything?
Well, and the weird part about it was there was a couple of things that was very interesting. They got her retinal scan.
So I bring that up as well.
Yeah.
So because I wrote, I was like, this building super like high tech. She gets like a little card so she can even get up to the floor, like super high tech place. And so she's like, why do you even have that in my report that I took a leave? And she's like, I'm just saying that I understand, like not your exact case, but I understand. And Angela's like, so so that's when she's like, yeah, I was assaulted. So it's like, now we know for sure, like she was assaulted. This is why she has the anxiety that she has, the PTSD that she has, and why this stream is so important to her, because she heard somebody get assaulted and she needs to find out why and help that person if she can, even though she knows she can't, because she's pretty sure that she's dead. And so and it comes out that she was put on trial instead of the guy that assaulted her, which again is something that fucking happens, which is really scary. And I wish they had gone into it like a little bit more, but at the same time, I don't feel like they needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so MC is like, oh yeah, and I fucking hate her. So then that's when Angela's like starting, like gears are turning, and she's like, how did you guys get my retinal scan? Because I never came in to do that.
Yeah.
And MC's like, yeah, we get them from the video conferences. And Angela's like, but I didn't consent to that. And she's like, oh, but it's in the terms and conditions. And she's like, nobody fucking reads those.
Yeah.
So like, and which like, yeah, like I don't either. Like, so yeah. And so like MC's just like, yeah, we just got everybody's retinal scans from all the video calls that we do. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's like, you consented to it. You agreed to the terms and conditions. It's in that. And it's like, what? Like terms and conditions can be like hundreds of pages long. What the fuck? So like that's fucking fucked up and like is so weird. So then Angela like brings up the FBI again and is like, dude, like we need to call the FBI. And MC is like just being weird, just being really weird. I hate how like people in HR and stuff talk and like higher management talk, because they have to, there's a different, sometimes like you can understand they're like people, they're good with people, but other times it's just very like generic talking, and they can't really push to be on either anybody's side really. Oh my goodness. And it's, yeah, so MC's just being sketchy shit.
calls Angela a brave and strong woman. And I'm just like, ugh, I hate
Yeah, she
her.
really went in on that one.
I hate her. She's like, you are so brave. Like, fuck off. I am so mad at this lady. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go call Mr. Cole so we can get the FBI on the phone, and leaves. And Angela's just like waiting. She goes to the bathroom. Her tooth's hurting again, so she like goes to take medicine. She looks like she might have a fever. I don't know. I was thinking that maybe she. Oh, there's that friggin' horn again. I don't know why there's like so many sounds. And so she goes to the bathroom, she comes back, and she's just like waiting in the office when Darius texts her, and he's like, what did you do? And she was like, what are you talking about? He's like, why did you delete all of those files? And she's like, I didn't. And he's like, well, somebody did. And that like immediately she was like, oh shit. So she gets out, she looks out the door and sees that there's these two guys coming down the hallway. And she's like, I should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
So she starts to run, and we know that those two guys are the two guys that killed Samantha. Like we can see that. I mean, I could.
Yeah.
So we can see that those two guys are the same two guys that killed Samantha. So fucking Miss Chowdhury comes over, and like she doesn't come over, but she went to go get these guys because they want to sweep all this under the rug. They don't want any of this to actually like get out into the public.
Right.
Because it could have a negative press for this company, and they don't want the company to go under blah blah blah. And so this is when we kind of see more of like the actiony bit of it, which isn't too much action, honestly. Like I feel like this is still very like realistic as to like how something like this would actually go down. Like there wouldn't be like when like in an action movie people are like sprinting and like all this stuff's going on and they're like jumping over like ledges and the people are like have their guns out and they're shooting around just like wherever like willy-nilly. Like it's not like that. They're literally just like walking through hallways kind of like quickly and then eventually start running and things like that. And so she is trying to get out of the building. She can't because her key card doesn't work anymore because like they probably shut off her key card, so she can't like open like doors and shit. And so she eventually gets her way out of the building, is trying to run away. The guys were chasing her. She calls Terry, he doesn't answer. She calls her therapist, she doesn't answer. So she just looks up the office for the FBI so she can just walk there. So she can just go to the FBI itself.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah. But again, I guess she probably doesn't want to get into like an Uber or anything because of like she doesn't want to like be close to people.
Oh yeah. No, I totally understand it.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Brad and our bad guy that we've only heard over the phone so far, Rivas. His name is Antonio Rivas, who is played by Jamie Camille, who I was so thrown off by because he's from like Jane the Virgin. And he's such like a goofy dude. I guess he's in like a lot of telenovelas. So he's in like a lot of that. And that's always like way dramatic. Yeah. But he was in Jane the Virgin. I've only ever seen him as like a funny dad. So seeing him as this like gang boss dude, I was like, what? Yeah. But he I think he can pull it off. He's almost a little too aloof with like how he is. Like it's almost like too, it's not like angry. It's almost too like I don't know. But so Brad gives him like the rest of what he owes him for killing Samantha, but now like Rivas knows that like Angela like has all this information, so he's like, well, now I gotta get rid of this girl, like she knows what's going on. So then Rivas pays some guy to get Angela's information so that he can track her down. And that's Yuri. And Yuri is able to tap into Angela's phone and triangulate her. But she's smart because she turns off her phone. So there's no way to triangulate her directly. And so then he tries to do it so that he can like triangulate her like without like signal or whatever. And he's not able to. But he's able to look at her history, her search history on her phone, because he's able to tap into it and find out that she was looking up the office for the FBI. So like even if they couldn't find her exact location currently, they know where she's going. So they start to head towards where all of that is. And then I first thought she was finally getting to the FBI office when she runs into where all the protests are happening in downtown. And she's about to throw her phone in the trash when the thugs, the bad guys, roll up in a big ass van and pull her into the van. And I loved how this played out because she gets pulled into this van. Mm-hmm. And there's protesters around. Like, it's not like there wasn't anybody around. So there's and these like protesters like try to rip open the door. They try to pull her out. The bad guys are able to close the door, but she's fighting for her life. They're surrounding the car so that like the truck can't drive away without like obviously like running people over. And she's able to kick one of the thugs and is able to open the back door. So as soon as she's able to unlock that, the protesters open up the door, pull her out, and are able to get her out, and she just sprints away. And so that's when Yuri's like, okay, well, where is she going? Let's find her. Cause they're all like, we don't know where she went. She's gone. And so this is when she's at that like bus stop or whatever. She like, crosses the street. She's at the bus stop and she like is like looking around because she thinks she sees like another black van with like one of the guys in it that's going to come try to like kidnap her. And so she tries to walk through this thing and he looks like he's walking towards her, ends up like walking and hugging some other lady, and then some other lady's like, oh my god, there you are. And it's just enough for her to be like, what? So then somebody bumps into her, and it's like those like in like action movies in like the jungle when people get like shot by those like darts from like this like poison dart frog dart things. So she starts to like pass out and they're like, oh no, but then they're like, get her in the van. And so they take her to the van. And so they're trying to figure out a way to, oh my goodness, sorry. So they're trying to figure out a way to get rid of her without it being like super suspicious. Like, it's well known that she like doesn't leave her apartment. She doesn't go out and do stuff. So they can't make it look like a mugging or something. They have to make it look like somebody broke in or something. And so that's their plan. So they're going to try to like make it look like somebody broke in. They get her to her apartment and they're trying to get inside. They're like fumbling with her keys. Because now she has like a whole ring of keys, which was super strange. Cause I'm like, when did she get a whole ring of keys? Yeah. She only had that one, but so now she has like a whole ring of keys and they're trying to get in and they're playing with the keys. And then the fucking neighbor, the one from upstairs, the one that I thought was creepy, like shows up and he's like, oh my God, Angela, how are you? Like, da, da, da. And, so he, I wrote, they're trying to figure out a way to get rid of her that won't look too suspicious. So they take her home. And I'm like now thinking about the creepy neighbor, like maybe he didn't call it in, somebody else did. And he's going to end up like helping her because he like stalks her from his window. And then as I'm like thinking that, he walks up and he's like, Angela, hi. So he ends up distracting these guys because he's like, oh, are you like okay? Like, let me help you get upstairs. And they're like, no, it's fine. We got her. And she's like, or he's like, no, like I'll help her get up. Like, I don't know you guys. Like, I know Angela here. Like, I'll get her back up to her apartment. Like, it's totally fine. And they're like, no, like we got it. And then he gets stabbed. And I was like, no, not the neighbor I thought was creepy. And so, but it was just enough of a distraction for Angela, who was finally coming to get away. So she's able to get inside, and she takes the stairs up. So she gets up to her apartment, has her keys, and goes to unlock the door. These guys are coming up the elevator. She's fumbling with her keys. It's a very like suspenseful moment. As soon as like the elevator opens, she's finally getting her door open. They start sprinting towards her. She gets her door open. She closes it and locks it. And they're like, no, we can't get in. And we're like, oh shit, okay. She made it into her apartment. She's safe for right now. Until Revis is right behind her and like
Yeah.
grabs her and is like, "What's up? I'm already in your apartment."
Yeah.
Like,
Which
So
I'm
he-
still thinking she was a germaphobe at this point. I'm like, I was so thrown off with that. Like, because now I'm thinking like, okay, once he leaves, now she got to clean the entire apartment. Because like it did, I really thought she was like OCD.
So like I feel like because I've spent all of COVID here in Los Angeles, like there's sanitizer stations everywhere, and I almost like unconsciously use them always. Like I walk into a grocery store, there's a hand sanitizer thing, I go and I use them. Like we have like a bunch of bottles kind of spread throughout my store. If I'm walking around, like I will just like subconsciously go over and like get some sanitizer and like do my hands. So it's like it's so, I think that's why I related so much, is like it's so much like how things still kind of are like during like even it's after COVID, at least here, because big city like LA, San Francisco, Seattle, those are like bigger cities. It's like there's sanitizer things everywhere and you kind of like don't even think about it anymore. Like I don't even think about it anymore. If I see one, I'm like, oh, I should probably sanitize, you know, like
Yeah.
I don't even think about it anymore. So I think that's where like the differences are, because like you're like, she's sanitizing her hands all the time, she's a germaphobe, and I'm like,
That's how it is. I'm like, because real
like
talk,
I
kid you not. You remember that bottle of sanitizer she had?
I have that in my car.
I kid you not. Like,
I have a big one, like
more.
Yeah, I have a big one like that in my car. I have there's a bottle, I just refilled it by my front door when I come in. I use some. I have some on my lanyard at work, so if I'm not like immediately around when I have a little bottle on my lanyard I can use. Like I have it everywhere, you know, and I'm not a germaphobe, but like I do want to keep myself safe, you know, and I'm just so used to like seeing people use sanitizer, because it's not just me, it's like everybody around. Like people walk into the store like, oh hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, I'm good, grab some sanitizer, do it. And I'm like, good. So I'm looking for some shoes, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, as I'm talking to him, I'm going to my own little sanitizer thing, putting some sanitizer. Like it's like not even like a thought in my head anymore about being like a germaphobe or whatever. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna, you know, or if somebody touches me, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna you know. But it's not like when she's walking through the hallways and stuff and like sees sanitizer and uses it, like I would have done the same thing. Like I will, if I see it, I like use it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
but it's also being in a place like being in LA where there are still like masks being worn and stuff, you know, and being such a populated city, like there's still like thousands of people in the hospitals here with COVID, like fighting for their lives, you know? So it's not like, it's not a thing anymore. So like I think it's a good like way to show kind of like how things still kind of are. Like, people are still wearing masks, are still using sanitizer and stuff. But you're still like, damn, she's gonna have to clean that whole fucking place.
I mean, everything, because I don't know what you've touched while you've been in here waiting. Did you sit on the bed? Did you sit on, like, no?
Yeah, did you go on my computer? Am I gonna have to like get the duster out and get everything?
And then when they were on her computer, I'm just like, gee, I was freaking out
for her,
because I'm like, the thought of somebody breaking into my house and being on my computer,
it's not even the thought of them taking shit from you. It's them like, no, they are taking your stuff.
they would take my peace away.
They're taking your sanity. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Rebus is in her apartment. He lets his thugs in, like he basically like throws her like over towards the couch. For some reason they didn't just leave the neighbor sitting downstairs. They brought him up with them.
No, it makes sense, because if you stab the guy,
I mean, yeah, it'd be like leaving a witness, which is good, because I feel like a lot of times when like that kind of stuff happens, they like leave the person to like bleed out.
Yeah.
But like people survive stab wounds like all the time. So like,
and they didn't stab him like in the chest.
And he's like, he's a bigger guy too, so it's like they stabbed him in his like stomach area, and so like he's a bigger dude, so he's got like a lot of layers of just like flesh there before it's gonna hit any kind of like organ.
Yeah.
Like he's just gonna bleed a bit, and it's not gonna be comfy because there's like nerves and stuff that are gonna hurt. But he's not gonna bleed out from that.
Yeah.
So they did bring him up, but I just feel like things like that happen in movies all the time, and they're just like, oh, they're dead, but it's like, no, they're not. Like they would survive that.
Yeah.
And so they brought him up too and throw him over under the couch, and Angela takes off her hoodie and like puts it, she's like, here, hold this on like your wound because you're bleeding. And then then these guys are just trying to figure out, like, find the USB, like with all the thing. And so she's over there talking to her neighbor, and she's like, how did you know my name? He's like, without saying it, he was like, I stalked you. But he's like, you're like me, like you don't leave your apartment. Like I don't leave my apartment. Like I'm not comfortable. So when I saw you leave, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Which is like nice, you know, I guess. And I didn't say this earlier, but there was at one point when she was talking to her mom about like going out with Terry. She's like, yeah, I invited Terry over. And she was like, that guy from across, like you only talk through like the windows. And she was like, Mom, it was lockdown. Like everybody was at their window.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so she was like, the mom was like, that's weird. Like you met him through the window. Like you guys were watching each other through the window. That's weird. She's like, Mom, literally like everybody in all of our buildings were just at their windows, like writing notes to each other because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of that going on. But anyway, so like he was like, yeah, like you don't leave either. So I knew that you were like in trouble. So like Rivas and his thugs find the USB, and then they're like asking if there's any other copies. Like this can't be the only copy. There's no way. Like it's got to be somewhere else. And she was like, I emailed it to everybody I know. And he was like, no, you didn't. I checked your email.
Yeah.
He's like, don't fucking lie to me. And then she like grabs her mouth because her tooth hurts. And he's like, oh, is your tooth hurt? And then he fucking smacks her. And I'm like, what? Okay. I still feel like I don't understand what the prevalence of her toothache was. Like what the importance of that. I mean, I get she was like so reclused that she wouldn't go to the dentist even to fix her tooth, but like she was taking medicine and like constantly like grabbing her like mouth and stuff. The only thing I can think of is like whatever they like stabbed her with to make her knock out because she was on antibiotics for her tooth. Like maybe the antibiotics just like lessened the effects of whatever it was sedative that they gave her, because I know antibiotics can affect like other medications and stuff. So like maybe, but that would be really like pushing it. That'd be really analyzing deeply.
Yeah.
As to like what, because like I don't know what significance her having a mess up tooth is for this whole thing.
I just more so took it as like a symbolic thing. Symbolism of her actual pain.
Yeah, I guess so. Like she's so stuck like where she's at that she's like just living through this pain. I get.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's just kind of like how I just interpret it, because I don't.
A good interpretation. I like it.
Yeah, I don't
Picasso,
think anything else.
I like it.
Yeah.
You probably don't know that there's a trend on TikTok where there was like this person like dressed up crazy in like this like wild dress and stuff, and this guy walks by and he's like, hey, what's that? And they're like, an art project. And he goes, I like it, Picasso. And that's it. That's the whole video. But people take that sound and use it for like a million other things. Yeah. So they're like, I like it, Picasso. But no, that makes sense. Like I guess that would be like a good representation as to like the pain that she's been dealing with, just in a physical form versus just being like a mental health, like just kind of showing that like mental health can affect your physical health.
Yeah, because think about it, everybody was like trying to say that there was like what she was feeling wasn't as not that it wasn't understandable, but like, hey, like just get out. You can do something about the pain you're dealing with. You just don't want to go and do it. Yeah. That's just kind of like how I guess I interpret it to be, because outside of that, I really don't understand. We don't know. She might still have a toothache. She may. bacteria from the thing may have gone up to her brain and killed her. Like, we don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's what I was like, is something gonna happen?
No.
Like, where she's gonna get like die because of her toothache before like any of this
really
gets solved? Like, can you imagine if she's there and everything's about to be solved and then she just like keels over because the infection reaches her brain?
Yeah.
But so she's like, I sent everything to everybody I know. And he's like, no, you didn't. I checked your email. Like, you didn't send it to anybody. Oh God, I hit my mic again. And she's like, it doesn't matter. And he's like, no, like, what doesn't matter? Like, I need these recordings. So he fucking hits her because her tooth hurts, and the neighbor is like, no. And so then Revis pulls a gun out on him and pulls the sweater away from his like stab wound, which like that just sounds painful. And so then she's like, he's like basically about to shoot the neighbor, and then she's like, it's on my laptop. So he goes over, and she's like, you're gonna need my password to get in. And he goes, oh, thank you, we already have it. Like, I don't know why I loved the way that line was delivered. He was like, oh my God, thank you so much, but like, we already have it. You dumb bitch. Like, that's how I took that. Like, that's really what it seemed like. And I was like, oh shit, okay, fucking Antonio. He's such an asshole. And so then she looks out the window towards Terry's apartment. His lights are on, but he's not there. She doesn't see him. And then that's when I was like, oh shit, like, wasn't he supposed to like come over? Like, wasn't he gonna come over or something? Like, they never like fully talked about it, but she also like got rid of her phone. So maybe she's just like, he's like, oh no, she's like upset with me. Like, she ignored me. So like, is he gonna show up? And then she gets a call from her computer because she doesn't have her phone. So the FaceTime will go to her computer because that's just what they do. And it's her mom. And they're like, oh, don't answer it. Like, just leave it. Like, we're just going to let it go to like the voicemail or whatever. And then she goes, hey, Kimi, open FaceTime on laptop. And it fucking pops up. And the mom is like, oh my God, what's going on? And they're like, shit. And they like close the computer.
They were so slow to react, though.
They're like, and she was like, Kimi, or she was like, Angela, what's going on, Angela? And they're like, and then like close it. It was so funny because it was just like, what the heck? And so they're like, oh shit. She like is then like, Kimi, turn off the lights. So then it's like pitch black. It's her apartment. She knows where everything is. So she like runs to like go to like up to the closet because she knows that she can get into the apartment above her. And so she's able to get up there. She gets a nail gun. She like MacGyvers it so it'll like shoot better, I guess. I don't really know exactly what she did with the duct tape to like make it like she wrapped duct tape on the nail gun. I thought it was going to be so it would be like automatic, so she wouldn't have to like. That's what I originally thought was so she had like trigger, but that like wasn't it. I don't know. That was very weird. Yeah, so like it make it look like she's doing something more, but I don't know. I have no idea what like she really did with it because I watched it back to it and I was like, what did she just put her on the top? Like it didn't make sense. So then she goes up, she gets that nail gun, and then goes back towards her apartment, and like one of the thug guys, they finally get into like that room, and he climbs up the thing and she shoots him in the head. And he falls down the little ladder thing onto the ground. And I was like, oh, he's dead. And like my first thought, I was like, there's no way. Like, that's unrealistic. Like, he wouldn't die from that. Like, I've seen worse wounds of people getting stabbed in the head and stuff. And then, she like sticks the thing down and shoots at Revis, hits his hand. And I see that nail is like 6 inches long. That's a long nail. So I was like, never mind, that went really far in that guy's brain. Yeah. So at first I was like, what the fuck? Like that's like a 2-inch nail. Like he's fine. And then I was like, no, it's not a 2-inch nail. That is like a fucking 5-6 inch nail. Like those construction nails. He's a goner. Yeah. Yeah, he was gone before he hit the ground. Oh yeah. She hit his off switch real fast. Yeah. Real quick. And so she shoots him, and like while all that's happening, the knife was dropped from the other thug guy, and the neighbor is able to get the knife with his foot, bring it over to himself. It cuts back to like Revis getting shot, and then the other guy's like, hey, like it's fine, like I got the USB, let's go. And as he's saying that, the neighbor comes up behind him and like stabs him in the chest with the knife, with his own knife, which is so poetic.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, what's going on? And that's when like Angela comes down, starts shooting Rivas, and he's like, oh, and he's getting like shot and stuff. And then so like it cuts down to like Terry being outside, like walking across. I was like, oh, so he is coming over, but then he stops and then walks back to his apartment. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening? And it goes back up to Angela and the neighbor like upstairs and like all the stuff that's going on there. So like I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. So they finds a knife, like Rivas gets shot. And for like a second you think that like she's gonna let the one that got stabbed go, because you see him like take the knife out and he starts like hobbling towards the door, and then she's just like no, and stabs him or shoots him, hits him in the neck. He like falls down. She like shoots him a couple more times. I was like, damn, she like really took this guy out. And then she's like goes to like I wrote I was like, and then Angela shoots Rivas. It looks like we think she's gonna let the other bad guy go, but then she shoots him with the nail gun too, and then she goes for that double tap. So like, holy shit. That was my note. And so like after everything that goes down, you hear this little knock on the door, just a little knock on her front door. And I'm like, it's Terry. He made it upstairs. He didn't need to buzz in. He just followed somebody in, you know, like as he does. And she goes to open the door, like she goes to walk towards the door, and she stops and turns around and looks at the neighbor, and she goes, hey, like, what's your name? And he goes, Kevin. And she goes, thanks, Kevin.
Do you
like,
think
Kevin!
that was it was interesting that Buzz is named Kevin.
Wait, what?
That's Buzz from Home Alone.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Hold on, where is he? Where's your thing? Devin Retch. Oh my god.
Yeah. With that's what I was like.
My god.
I was like, that's very interesting. They did that. I know they did that on purpose, but
they absolutely did. I did not know that was him.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Very interesting.
He looks so different. I mean, he's also like what, 40 something years older or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I didn't know that was him. Oh, I see it now. Wow, that's funny that they make his name Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay. So she goes, what's your name? And he goes, Kevin. And it's funny because my friend, I was like, Kevin! And the mom went Home Alone, Kevin! That's funny. Oh my god, I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so she thanks him and he's like, you're welcome, and he like tries to give her like a thumbs up. So then Terry's at the door, so she's walking towards the door and she's like, hey Kimi, call 911. So like it's calling 911 as she opens the door, and Terry's like, hey, like, I'm so sorry. And then it's like, 911, what's your emergency? She's like, there's been a break-in at this address. There's one person with a stab wound and three dead bodies. And he's like, Terry's just like, what? He's got like flowers, and she goes, those are pretty things. Like, oh no, you froze.
Am I freezing?
She's outside. She looks cute in a little dress. It's like springtime. She's got pink hair now. It's not blue anymore. And she is on her way to go meet up with Terry to have breakfast at the food truck. And no one's wearing masks anymore. There wasn't anybody wearing any more masks. So like COVID's over for them. Not magically. For us. Magically. But not for us, but for them.
Yeah.
And then it ends with us hearing the Kimi thing saying, I'm here. Like,
yeah.
So then my last little thought was like, I enjoyed it. It's not some crazy action movie. It's not unrealistic. Like, I feel like that shit probably happens. Things get swept under the rug all the time. Like, you know, it's not unlikely to happen. But I do also feel that if Zoe was not the main star, I probably wouldn't have liked the movie. I don't think people would really be interested in watching the movie. I think this is a movie, like, sometimes you like make the movie like a Zoe Kravitz to be the lead, you know?
Yeah, you have to.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, so that is like the full synopsis of the movie that I wrote a million notes on. I hope nobody's falling asleep yet because I was yawning a few times. But oh god, that took so long.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, now frozen. You got frozen again. Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be fun to edit. This is it's gonna freeze again. So let's real quick, let's give our ratings and then sign off.
Finish up. Okay, that works. Yeah. I don't know if you heard me, I was asking, I was like, what our time was at right now, like how long is this, at least this chunk of recording?
I have no clue.
Oh, it doesn't have like a time thingy on you? Oh
yeah, I well, we've been on a call for 4 hours, but
what?
Yeah. But yeah, this the actual recording, I have no clue.
Jesus, maybe that's why we're so freaking tired.
Yeah.
I'm like yawning. Okay, so yeah. Oh, my Bo Bear is starting to get antsy as well. So okay, so I mean, overall, it was not a bad movie. I did enjoy it. Again, I don't feel like it's going to be something that I'm going to want to like actively watch again. But if somebody wants to watch it, I'd be like, yeah, okay, like why not? Like, it's not a super actiony movie, but it's interesting. It's very realistic. I feel like it's very much like something that would happen in real life, especially with tech jobs being the way they are, and people being shitty and trying to murder people and rape people and sweep it under the rug. Companies do that shit all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely I would say like a 7. You know?
Yeah, I'd say probably a 7 too.
Yeah, because it's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. You know, I enjoyed it. I related to it a lot. I felt like Zoe did a very good job portraying like the anxiety and like the PTSD. I'm also very excited to see her in Batman.
Yes,
that's gonna be fun.
Yes.
I forgot that she was in Divergent. But yeah, she's a great actress. Yeah, she's a great actress. So I'm glad I got to see her like as a star of something again, and not just like a side character, because I feel like she plays side characters a lot. So it was nice to see her as like the star.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 7. So you'd say give it about 7.
I'd give it about 7.
Okay.
6.5, 7, somewhere around there, I
6.5,
guess.
7. Yeah.
It was cool. I'm not watching it again.
I like, it'll be a movie that like if somebody wants to watch it, if there's not another option, I'd be like, okay, we can watch it. But yeah, the rewatchability,
if there's literally
is
nothing else to watch, okay.
Then like I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like it wasn't bad, it wasn't great. It would not be the movie that it is if it wasn't for Zoe.
Yeah. No, she made the movie.
Yeah, I was like, if it was somebody else, like it just would not have been like, I would not have cared at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow. Okay. This was a incredibly long thing. How do we like that like process? Like, I want everybody to weigh in as well. I know you're gonna edit it a bit because I have a so it'll be a little bit less, but we're still figuring it out. We're still figuring out how to make it work.
I think I thought of it.
Yeah.
While we were going through this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Think, like we said before, discuss the theme of the film and all that stuff. But I think what we should do is talk about the film in the beginning, like the director and all that stuff, actors and all that, right?
Yeah.
And then go into the main points of the movie, the beginning, the high, the low, all that stuff, like just a brief summary of the film.
I feel like
and
a
then go into the theme.
synopsis. I feel like a synopsis form is better for like short form,
Yes.
like a TV show or something versus like a whole movie, because there's so much that goes into like a whole movie. So like we're still figuring it out, guys. That's if it flows well. Like it flows
well. Yeah.
So there's
I've definitely seen worse movies.
Yeah, like you're not sitting there like struggling to watch it or whatever. So it definitely has a good flow to it, which is nice. So like take some time, watch it. If you have HBO, go ahead and just like watch it. It's, I mean, if you watch like Euphoria, like you have HBO. I feel like that's such a show right now. We were going to talk about that. We never got a chance to talk about it. That's okay. We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah. Let's talk about it next time.
So yeah, because there's going to be a next time, because we're going to be on top of everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead, give me socials real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So my personal socials are just at Jessica Lemon with 2 L's, so JESSICALLEMON. Instagram is primarily what I use. I have a TikTok now. I've been posting on TikTok. Not much, but like, and so definitely follow that. I have my other podcast, Sour, Sweet, and Spooky. I should be posting pretty soon. I am hoping to, get something done this week so that I can get a new episode up, which I'm very excited about, to get that back up and rolling along with this show. I also wanted to do a quick little shout out again to my friends over at Broadcast at the Belfry, Broadcast from the Belfry. They're another like paranormal like type show. I was a guest on their newest episode that I think comes out this week, so check them out. Yeah, that's really it.
Nice. Yeah, you can follow me at Derrick_OTS, DERRICK. You can follow the brand at OTS Media Co. all social media platforms. Check us out. Let us know what you guys think what we're doing with the different shows. Website.com. And as you know, but really we have, and now we as Realish have our social media open. So
we do.
Yeah. So at Realish_IG, Realish on Facebook, and you can follow us on there. Let us know, get in touch with us. Jessica, I think you're gonna be the one that's primarily
on the Instagram. I have it. I keep looking at it. So yeah, anything on like Instagram, if you want to shoot us like a message, like I'm likely going to be the one that's going to be answering you guys. Any movies, any shows you want us to watch, review, talk about, whatever, anything in the news that's going on you want us to bring up and chat about a little bit, let us know. Instagram's probably going to be the best way to contact about that. So yeah, I'm excited for this new season to get going.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and we will catch y'all next week.